Chapter 1923. After Wan Xiao arrived at the room, the first thing he did was to turn on the hotel's computer to contact the higher-ups. He had a communicator installed in his ear. This thing could only receive orders from the higher-ups, but it couldn't contact the higher-ups. His situation couldn't be reported to the higher-ups in time. There was a reason for the higher-ups to do this. This invisible communicator that could only receive messages was absolutely anti-jamming. In other words, when the higher-ups didn't contact Wan Xiao, even if someone used a search jammer to check Wan Xiao, they wouldn't find the communicator's existence. Moreover, when the higher-ups gave orders to Wan Xiao, this communicator could also sense and judge based on the surrounding body heat and temperature. When there were other people present, the communicator would give feedback to the higher-ups. The higher-ups wouldn't give orders to Wan Xiao at this time. The only drawback of this thing was that Wan Xiao couldn't actively control it and contact the higher-ups. This was because those who could actively control it would definitely be detected by the search detector. Wan Xiao could easily be exposed if he brought this communicator with the people of the Jutsai group. There was only one way for Wan Xiao to contact the higher-ups, and that was to log in to a fan forum. Then, under the Luaning fan section, there was a post called, "Strive to win the Asian Champions League next year." Then, he would use a secret code to communicate with the higher-ups. When the higher-ups saw the secret code, they would reply to Wan Xiao. Although it was a little troublesome to do this, it could ensure absolute safety. Wan Xiao had no choice but to use this method to contact the higher-ups. Just when Wan Xiao turned on the computer and was about to use the secret code to analyze his current situation and post a message at the back of the post, the phone in the room rang. "Aya, this 5-star hotel also has a harassment call?" Wan Xiao was stunned. If there was a call at this time to ask if he needed any massage service, Wan Xiao would definitely curse. "I don't have enough money in my pocket to go out and try a few famous snacks in Shenzhen tomorrow. I really don't have the mood to care about this." Wan Xiao really wanted to directly unplug the phone line, but wireless phones were popular now. Even the landline didn't have a phone line. This bastard couldn't not pick it up. "Hello? If you have something to say, say it. If not, hang up. I'm busy here. I don't have time to care about you." Wan Xiao picked up the phone and didn't have a good temper. Yi Fala, who was on the other side of the phone, was stunned. This guy, she had already let him stay in her hotel for free, yet he still had this attitude. Therefore, Yi Fala also said in a bad mood, "If you have the money to stay here, I really don't have the time to care about you. Now listen carefully, you can stay in this room for as long as you want. You don't have to pay. Goodbye." Yi Fala did not give Wan Xiao a chance to ask any questions and hung up the phone right away. Wan Xiao stared blankly at the phone. Did he report this to his superiors? Not yet. He had just turned on his computer. Oh my God, the people up there can really reach the heavens. Did they open the celestial eye? She could see his difficulties from so far away. If he had this ability, why would he still need to go undercover to investigate the criminal evidence of Jutsai Group? Seriously, he had used his ability in the wrong place. Grumbling was grumbling, ridiculing was ridiculing, but what should be done still had to be done. Now that the problem of accommodation had been solved, Wan Zhao's mood was much better. He even regretted that he should have asked if he could eat while he was staying here. If he could eat for free, that would be perfect. However, Wan Xiao quickly denied his naive thoughts. The higher-ups sent him here to carry out a mission, not to let him go on a vacation. Wan Xiao did not eat much for the entire day. Now that he was really hungry, he finally managed to stay in a hotel. He was too lazy to go out, so he opened the service book in the hotel room. There were indeed some things that were sold inside. But the things inside were really too expensive, right? The cheapest business package was 260 yuan per set. Even the instant noodles cost 35 yuan a bucket. Mineral water was 15 yuan per bottle. A pack of cigarettes that usually cost 20 yuan outside was several times the price inside. Was this a 5-star hotel? This was simply a scam. Wan Xiao looked at the remaining 200 to 300 yuan in his pocket. He could not even bear to eat instant noodles. Forget it. I'll go out and find a roadside stall and ask for a bowl of 10 yuan ramen. At least I can eat until I'm full. At this time, the phone in the room rang again. This time, Wen Xiao was not so disgusted. It seemed that the higher-ups knew about his difficulties and arranged for someone to deliver food to him. This logistical guarantee job is really too good. Wen Xiao's heart was filled with warmth. Hello. Wen Xiao picked up the phone. This time, his tone was much gentler. Obviously, the phone call was made by Yi Fala. Hearing Wen Xiao's gentle tone, she did not know whether to laugh or cry. You're really powerful. I'm giving you benefits and you're speaking so gently. Wen Xiao said embarrassedly. It was a misunderstanding just now, a misunderstanding. The hotel's Western restaurant. A friend wants to meet you for coffee. Yi Fala did not delay and directly hung up the phone. Wen Xiao was startled. Didn't they say that the police did not know that he was undercover? Why were there so many arrangements when he just arrived in Shenzhen? Didn't the higher-ups say to let him fend for himself? These arrangements were obviously not what Wen Xiao expected. But since he had already picked up the phone, he had to go even if it was a dragon's pool or a tiger's den. Moreover, if there was a problem, then he could not continue to stay. Go. The Western restaurant was fine. Wen Xiao turned off the computer, took the room card and directly went out. Speaking of which, this Xingkai hotel was really big. Wen Xiao looked at the map and studied it for a while before he successfully arrived at the Western restaurant. After arriving at the Western restaurant, Wen Xiao looked around. There were more than a dozen guests scattered around, and 4 of them were foreigners. Cough cough. A man with slightly curly hair and glasses coughed a few times. Wen Xiao's gaze unnaturally followed the sound. At first glance, Wen Xiao did not feel anything. Then, he began to feel that something was wrong. When he took a closer look, he felt that this man with glasses was very familiar. After taking a closer look, Wen Xiao finally realized. He was almost stunned. Su Yun could actually dress up like this. Wasn't this mission carried out by himself? Why was Su Yun also involved? Wen Xiao walked to Su Yun's side nervously and sat down. With a blank face, he whispered, "Boss, why are you here?" "I'm here to assist you." Su Yun took a sip of coffee and said in a low voice, "The higher-ups have agreed. But I can't expose my identity, so I can only secretly assist you. I know that you are eager to make up for your mistakes and want to prove yourself. So, you definitely did not make any preparations before going on the mission." Wen Xiao did not say anything, which was a tacit agreement. "You can stay in the hotel as you wish. It's one of us. Everything that can be done for you will be done for." Su Yun's voice was still very low. "There is a bank card under the table on your left. There is money in it, enough for you to use. Don't steal the wallets of the people to do things. If you did this before, I will forgive you. You were forced to do it. But you can't do it in the future. Boss, you know me well." Wen Xiao did not know whether to laugh or cry. "I was forced to do it before. I will never do it in the future. Okay, I won't talk to you anymore." Su Yun said, "We should also meet as little as possible." Okay. I will go back to plan the plan right away," Wen Xiao said. Su Yun smiled slightly. "Don't worry. I guess you haven't eaten well these days. I ordered some steak and pizza. You eat slowly. I will go first." After Su Yun finished speaking, she got up and left. Wen Xiao's heart was really warm. With Su Yun's support, he was instantly filled with strength for this mission. Originally, he was really worried that he wouldn't be able to handle so many difficulties. Now, it seemed that he was really thinking too much. Su Yun had given him so much help. If he still couldn't complete the mission perfectly, then who would he be worthy of? At this time, the steak and pizza were served. Wen Xiao wolfed down the food and replenished the energy of the day. He took the bank card stuck under the table and stuffed it into his pocket. Then, he got up and left the Western restaurant. Chapter 1924. Su Yun was relieved that the two of them had already contacted each other. Now it was up to Wen Xiao. If he wanted to get in touch with the people above the Jutsai group, he could only rely on Wen Zhao's own ability. Su Yun believed that he definitely had a way. He did not need to worry about the rest. Wen Zhao was not wandering around the Jutsai building today. He was also looking for an opportunity. Unfortunately, Wen Zhao didn't find any opportunities at all. The photos of those people kept flashing in his mind. If he couldn't find a breakthrough from these people, he would have no chance to break into the inner circle of the Jutsai group. Because of this problem, Wen Zhao did not sleep well the whole night. He really could not think of a good way to solve this problem. However, things progressed very quickly. The next day, the Shenzhen police received an order from above. According to reliable information, Wen Zhao has entered Shenzhen City. Such a document directly caused an uproar in the Shenzhen City police circle. No one thought that things would happen so suddenly. Of course, other than Qin Wan-er. If it was on a normal day, Qin Wan-er would have started to deploy the work of various departments quickly after receiving such news. However, today she seemed to be in no state at all. In the huge conference room, everyone was talking about the big trouble this time. Only Qin Wan-er's eyes were dull. No one knew what problem she was thinking about. Zhang Guoping coughed lightly, trying to attract Qin Wan-er's attention. However, Qin Wan-er still did not respond. It seems that our bureau really has a crow's mouth. Whatever we say comes true. It's really smart. Zhang Yun's words were basically naming names. Everyone remembered what Qin Wan-er said yesterday. She kept emphasizing that Wen Zhao was very likely to come to Shenzhen. It had not been 24 hours, and Qin Wan-er's words had become reality. If this was not a crow's mouth, then what was? You can't say that, Zheng. Little Qin only came to the conclusion yesterday after careful analysis. Today, it seems like she really analyzed Wen Zhao's psychological activities very seriously. Otherwise, she wouldn't have guessed so accurately. Zhang Guoping tried to smooth things over. However, Qin Wan-er did not hear what Zhang Yun said at all. She still looked like she had lost her soul. Deputy Bureau Chief Qin, why did you suddenly stop talking? Since you are so familiar with Wen Zhao's psychological activities, then this big case really needs your leadership. Zhang Yun continued, you can't drop the ball at such a crucial moment, right? Qin Wan-er suddenly came back to her senses. She really didn't know how to control her current situation. She knew too much and lost her usual style. Obviously, everyone could see that something was wrong with Qin Wan-er. A careful person asked with concern, Chief Qin, are you under too much pressure from this matter? Did you not rest well? You don't look too good. Why don't you go back to the office and rest? Zhang Yun did not agree. Cancel all holidays and rest periods. This is what Deputy Director Qin personally said. Are you asking her to go against her own words? That depends on the situation. Can't you see that there's something wrong with Chief Qin's mental state? Yes, there's something wrong. Deputy Director Qin, weren't you in good spirits when you went on a date with the handsome guy yesterday? Why are you in a trance after encountering such a big matter today? Zhang Yun continued to be sarcastic. It seems that you were really tired yesterday. You must have overdrawn your mental and physical strength. He. Zhang Yun, aren't you going overboard with your words? Zhang Yun was not nice to those who did not support him. It's not your turn to interrupt when the leader is speaking. No matter what, Zhang Yun was still the deputy bureau chief. When he said such words, the people below were really speechless. Moreover, they did not dare to really fall out with Zhang Yun. If he really made things difficult for them, they could only break their teeth and swallow it in their stomachs. When Qin Wan-er heard their quarrel, she frowned. Suddenly, she slapped the table and said sternly, Are you done? Seeing that Qin Wan-er was angry, everyone quieted down. Only Zhang Yun dared to refute because he was at the same level as her. Deputy Director Qin, isn't your temper too bad? If there's anything that doesn't go your way in life, don't bring your emotions to work. Zhang Guoping tried to smooth things over again. Okay, let's talk less. Let's talk about work. This is a special time. Qin Wan did not want to argue with Zheng Yun because she knew what was more important. That's right. It's working time now. This is a special time. I also hope that everyone can unite, put down the imbalance in their hearts, and devote themselves to work. Yes, don't bring your personal life and emotional life into work. It will affect your work. If something goes wrong, no one can bear the responsibility. Zheng Yun was absolutely unwilling to be at a disadvantage. Well, listen to me. Although my ability is limited, in terms of experience, I'm afraid that I have more than you young people. Zhang Guoping did not want to give the two of them a chance to bicker. When Xiao escaped to Shenzhen. What does that mean? I want to share my opinion. Zhang Guoping paused, took a sip of tea, and said slowly, if he dares to come to a big city like Shenzhen, it means that he has enough confidence in himself. I believe that everyone can understand this. Also, I think that he wants to seek and gain opportunities for himself. Director Zhang is right. I also think that when Xiao wants to gain more opportunities. Qin Wan said, what kind of national secret did Wen Xiao get? None of us know. But if this secret is important enough, he can use this secret in exchange for greater benefits in Shenzhen. What do you mean? He's already like this. What qualifications does he have to exchange for benefits? Zheng Yun did not understand. It was no wonder that he did not understand. He was just idling at work every day. As a director, he only knew how to drink tea, surf the internet, and watch movies. He really did not know anything. Qin Wan was definitely not in the mood to explain to him. They could only rely on Zhang Guoping. Because spies from other countries in China will not go to small cities. The scope of these people's activities are concentrated in big cities like Yanjing, Shenzhen, and Guangshan. So, if he has important secrets, he must want to come into contact with these people. And the probability of coming into contact with these people is higher in Shenzhen. Because Shenzhen is the most representative international metropolis in Huaxia. Zheng Yun suddenly understood, but did not show it. Actually, it doesn't have to be like this. Director Zhang has already said that the probability is higher. Qin Wan was a little impatient. No one said that this is necessary. Okay. Zhang Guoping immediately controlled the mood. There are some things that I don't know if I should say, but what I want to say now is that with the police's ability, it is impossible for us to find the existence of those spies. So, we can only think of ways to catch Wen Xiao. After all, he is fighting alone. It will be easier for us to deal with him. Zheng Bin nodded. Then, let's organize a city-wide investigation first. This is also our Deputy Director Qin's strength. Ha ha ha, everyone, let's move. Don't let Deputy Director Qin point at your noses and scold you for being slow. To deal with people like Wen Xiao, a city-wide investigation seems to be meaningless. Qin Wan suddenly said. This was not her style, but she had too many things to consider now. Because she did not want to catch Wen Xiao, she did not want to confront Wen Xiao head-on. There was a reason for this. The more she could avoid confronting Wen Xiao head-on, the better Qin Wan's protection work would be. Once she confronted Wen Xiao head-on, she really did not know how to disguise herself. Su Yun had already told her about this matter. She must definitely hide this matter well. Moreover, Su Yun also said that there were many people in the police station who were spies of the Jutsai group. Qin Wan did not dare to take it lightly. But if we don't investigate, what else can we do? Zheng Yun said, do we just sit and wait? Deputy Director Qin, this is not your style. Your style is definitely to dig 3 feet into the ground to find the person, right? Qin Wan was a little nervous. Did Zheng Yun see something? I just don't want anyone to get hurt. Qin Wan explained, after all, Wen Xiao is not an ordinary criminal. He is not an ordinary person. We can't deal with him like we deal with ordinary criminals. Zhang Guoping nodded. Little Qin's words are reasonable. If we act rashly, we will only put ourselves in danger. Then don't catch him. Just wait. Zhang Yun had a look of righteousness. We are the police. We can't just not do something because of danger, right? Alright, Deputy Director Qin, if you don't bring people to investigate, I will bring people to investigate. You are afraid of danger, I am not. I really don't believe that Wen Xiao has 3 heads and 6 arms. Chapter 1925. Little Qin, I think you know more about Wen Xiao than us. You'd better tell Zhang Yun about it. This is not a joke. Zhang Guoping said nervously. He didn't want anyone in the bureau to get into trouble because of Wen Xiao. I just want to say that you have to distinguish between confidence and arrogance. Qin Wan didn't have the time to argue with Zhang Yun. If he wants to investigate, then let him. I also hope that someone can find clues about Wen Xiao. Zhang Yun wasn't convinced. Okay, I'll investigate. This time, I'm definitely going to get all the credit for it. Chief Zhang, you can be my witness. I was the one who wanted to do this. Qin Wan didn't do anything. A woman who retreats when faced with a problem will never amount to anything. Qin Wan had nothing to say to Zhang Yun. Meeting adjourned. I only hope that everyone will be fully prepared and be ready to arrest Wen Xiao at any time. After that, Qin Wan stood up and left. A few people stood up as well. Zhang Yun slammed the table. You think the meeting is adjourned just because she said so? She's not the only one who has the final say in this bureau. Everyone, sit down. I'll assign the tasks now. We'll start immediately. We'll start with all the hotels in Shenzhen. The quarrel between the two left the others at a loss. Zhang Guoping patted Zhang Yun's shoulder. Assign the tasks to them first. I'll take a look at Little Qin. After all, we're colleagues in the bureau. Let's not make things difficult. Zhang Yun shook his head. Chief Zhang, you saw it too. I'm not the one who wants to be unhappy. It's her fault. Yesterday, when we weren't sure if Wen Xiao had arrived in Shenzhen, she was the one who shouted loudly. Now, she's the one who doesn't want to face it directly. I'll take responsibility for this matter myself. Everyone says that she can solve cases and has courage. This time, you can see that she's not weak, right? Young people are really bold. Zhang Guoping shook his head helplessly. He patted Zhang Yun's shoulder heavily again and said to the others in the office, Okay, you all listen to Chief Zhang's arrangements. This is a big case. It's time to make a contribution. That's right. If you want to make a contribution, listen to my arrangements. I guarantee that you won't regret it, Zhang Yun said confidently. After Zhang Guoping left the meeting room, he went to find Qin Wan. After Qin Wan returned to her office, she quickly calmed down. She really couldn't think of a countermeasure. How could she avoid a direct confrontation with Wen Xiao? Bang, bang, bang. Zhang Guoping knocked on the open door and walked in with a smile. Little Qin, are you thinking about something? I feel like something is wrong with you today. Qin Weiner quickly turned around and saw that Zhang Guoping had already walked into her room. She really wanted to tell Zhang Guoping about her current situation. After all, Zhang Guoping had been in the police force for 30 years and had more experience than her. He was also the most trustworthy person in the police station. However, thinking of Su Yun's words, Qin Wan still swallowed her words. Chief Zhang, I'm fine. I just feel that Wen Xiao is really too dangerous. As policemen, every criminal we face is dangerous. Zhang Guoping said, Little Qin, you are not a person who is afraid of danger. Can a mere Wen Xiao scare you? This isn't like you. Qin Weiner also realized that her performance was somewhat difficult to convince the public. Chief Zhang, I'm not scared. I'm just thinking about how to lure the snake out of its hole. How to make Wen Xiao show up on his own initiative so that we will have more initiative. Yeah, this is even more difficult. We may not be able to find him even if we take the initiative to look for him. Do you still want him to show up on his own? Zhang Guoping said, This is too difficult. Do you have any good ideas? Qin Weiner smiled embarrassedly. If I had a good idea, I wouldn't be having a headache here. Yeah, since there is no other way, then we have to do it according to Zheng Yun's method. Let's search the whole city. Zhang Guoping said, Little Qin, you know that I am more optimistic about you among the young people. Catching Wen Xiao is a great merit. Do you understand what I mean? Qin Weiner was stunned. She nodded and said, Chief Zhang, I didn't become a police officer for merit. I know this. Zhang Guoping nodded and said, but if you don't make any contributions, you won't be promoted. If you can't be promoted, you won't be able to fulfill your great ambitions. These are all linked. So, listen to me and search with Zheng Yun immediately. Qin Weiner didn't answer immediately. She thought for a while and said, let him search first. If I go now, I don't know what he will say. Chief Zhang, I'm sorry to make you worry. I just want to be alone now. Okay. Zhang Guoping saw that he couldn't persuade her, so he didn't force her. You think about it carefully. Is there any good idea? If you can think of it, then it's best. If you can't think of it, then we will take it step by step. We will treat Wen Xiao as an ordinary criminal. N. Qin Weiner nodded hard. Chief Zhang, I will listen to you. Zhang Guoping was relieved. Then I will go and do my work. You have to get back to work as soon as possible. Our Shenzhen police station needs you very much. I promise, Qin Weiner said. When Zhang Guoping left, Qin Weiner heard the sound of her colleagues in the police station moving. Soon, the police cars in the station also drove out. The search organized by Zheng Yun had already begun. Qin Weiner frowned. If Wen Xiao came to Shenzhen, where would he hide? Soon, Qin Weiner had a terrible idea in her mind. Since Su Yun was at the Xinkai Hotel, would Wen Xiao also? Phew, this matter was probably close. She could only hope that Zheng Yun and the others would find nothing. Otherwise, she really couldn't think about how the situation would develop. Zheng Yun led a group of people out. Their goal was very clear. They started their investigation from the best five-star hotels in Shenzhen. Wen Xiao should be someone who was very rich and knew how to enjoy life. Therefore, the living conditions should not be too bad. Moreover, people like him should feel safer in expensive hotels because the people living in five-star hotels were either rich or noble. So, even the police were not willing to provoke them. If it was a normal day, Zheng Yun was really unwilling to take people to provoke them. But today was different. He wanted to prove to Qin Weiner that he could also solve cases. Why was it that Qin Wan always got the credit for every case? This time, Zheng Yun was going to fight for it. He wanted the higher-ups to see that he, Zheng Yun, could stand up when Qin Weiner was scared and take down an S-level wanted criminal. Zheng Yun, who had not solved any cases on normal days, really did not know what an S-level wanted criminal was. They were people who had killed people and committed crimes that were so bad that it could not be worse. Generally, A-level wanted criminals were extremely vicious people who had killed many people. S-level wanted criminals were even more vicious than A-level wanted criminals. Zheng Yun dared to boast so shamelessly because he did not know how terrible this kind of wanted criminal was. If he had really faced a wanted criminal of this level before, even if you gave him 100 guts, he would not be so confident in leading a team out. Now, Zheng Yun's state was like a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. He thought that he could solve everything. Only when he faced this kind of terrible situation would he know how much he was worth. Naturally, Xinkai Hotel was one of the best five-star hotels in Shenzhen. Furthermore, Zheng Yun led his men to investigate the second hotel and found this place. Several police cars swarmed into Xinkai Hotel, causing the parking lot in Xinkai Hotel to have a tense atmosphere. Yi Faraday, who saw the situation in the office, rushed downstairs in an instant. She realized that the police had started to investigate Wen Xiao. But there was one thing she did not understand. Didn't Su Yun already see Qin Weiner yesterday? Qin Weiner definitely knew about Wen Xiao's situation. If that was the case, why would the police still investigate here? After Zheng Yun got out of the car, he arranged for people to block all the entrances and exits of Xinkai Hotel. He waved his hand and led 4 or 5 people straight into the lobby of Shinkai Hotel. He wanted to do what he did just now. He wanted to be careful and not let go of a single room. Chapter 1926. Su Yun, who was dressed in a Southeast Asian style, was currently drinking tea in the resting area of the hotel lobby. He knew that once the news of Wan Xiao sneaking into Shenzhen was released, the police would investigate Shinkai Hotel sooner or later. However, he didn't think that the investigation would come so suddenly and so quickly. Su Yun used the corner of his eyes to search but didn't see Qin Wan-er's figure. He was slightly startled. It seemed that Qin Wan-er still hadn't completely digested what he told her yesterday. Now, she still couldn't control her emotions and actions regarding this matter for a while. Isn't this Chief Zheng? What's going on? Such a big formation. Could it be that you're here to arrest me? Yi Fala used her fastest speed to come downstairs. After seeing Zheng Yun, she immediately went up to him. I've always abided by the law. You know my situation. Even if you gave me the courage, I wouldn't dare to do anything illegal. Yi Fala's charm wasn't something that an ordinary girl could possess. She was born with the style of a charming queen. Ordinary men would have no control over themselves when facing her slightly delicate and coquettish tone. Although Zheng Yun was a man in his 30s with a wife and children, he still couldn't control himself when facing a woman like Yi Fala. This woman was really too exquisite. Just thinking about it made people so excited that they couldn't sleep the whole night. This wasn't the first time Zheng Yun and Yi Fala met. They had eaten together before. When Zheng Yun saw Yi Fala for the first time, he was captivated. He fantasized many times in his heart that if he had such a woman as his wife, he would have no regrets in his life. He would definitely enjoy her every night. Although that might shorten his lifespan by 3 to 5 years, Zheng Yun was absolutely willing. He was perfectly willing. Actually, there were many men who had the same thoughts as Zheng Yun. It could be said that all the men in Shenzhen who had met Yi Fala had this kind of yearning in their hearts. After all, men were men. Some random thoughts couldn't be controlled by the brain. It was all controlled by the second brother. CEO Yi, I haven't seen you for a few days and you've become even prettier. TSK, TSK, TSK. If you say you're the second most beautiful woman in Shenzhen, then no one would dare to say they're the first. Zheng Yun's praise for Yi Fala was definitely not out of politeness. It came from the bottom of his heart. Yi Fala had an expression of enjoyment on her face as she said shyly, Chief Zheng, if you weren't married, I would definitely marry you. You really know how to talk. Yi Fala's words made Zheng Yun's head go numb. There was even a moment when he felt that if he could be with a woman like Yi Fala, even if he had to bear with the criticism of everyone and divorce his wife, it would be worth it. However, Zheng Yun quickly came to his senses. A woman like Yi Fala was definitely not someone he could subdue. This kind of woman was like an unruly white tiger. Only a true green dragon among men could completely subdue her. For a man like him, he could only fantasize. If he had the chance to rub some oil off his mouth, it would be very good. If Zheng Yun did not have his status as the deputy bureau chief, Yi Fala would probably not even look him in the eye. Chief Zheng, what are you doing? Is it another surprise inspection? Yi Fala stopped joking and became a little serious. This is a proper hotel. There are orders to prohibit prostitution, gambling, and drugs. Do whatever you want, really, do whatever you want. Everyone is serving the people. It's really hard on you. I'll be the host tonight. I'll get people to prepare our Shinkai Hotel's signature medicinal cuisine banquet. None of you can miss out. All of you must participate. Zheng Yun was a little embarrassed facing such a passionate Yi Fala. Director Yi, your character is right here. How can I suspect that your hotel is involved in such a mess? We're here this time for other reasons. Oh. Do you want to rectify something? Then it should be the people from the fire department and the industry and commerce department, right? Yi Fala was stunned. Zheng Bin said, No. We won't rectify anything. Director Yi, you've seen the recent news, right? That S-level wanted criminal Wen Xiao has already infiltrated our Shenzhen city. Yi Fala's face changed. Really? This is our police's internal news. I'm telling you because I trust you. Zhang Yun said, don't speak carelessly. It's easy to cause social unrest. Because this person has already confirmed that he's in our Shenzhen city, we have this search operation. Yi Fala's face became even uglier. Chief Zheng, so you're suspecting that I'm harboring an S-level wanted criminal. Phew, I really don't dare to accept this big accusation. Chief Zheng, you're suspecting me like this. I really... Director Yi, definitely not. I definitely don't have any intention of suspecting you. I'm just worried that this person will infiltrate your hotel and bring you danger and trouble. Zhang Yun said, S-level wanted criminal. I'm really doing this for your own good. That's why I'm here to check your hotel. Yi Fala still had a face of disbelief. She directly said to the front desk, bring out all the room records and let Chief Zheng check. After saying that, Yi Fala turned her head again. Chief Zheng, you know the grade of our Xingkai hotel. Those who check in here are either rich or respectable. I'll show you the check-in registration later. You know some of these people, but you can't check and disturb them. You understand what I mean, right? I'm also thinking for your career. Zhang Yun was stunned. Of course, he understood Yi Fala's meaning. Could it be that some leader checked in here? Then this really couldn't be checked. If this kind of thing happened, even if he could kill the wanted criminal Wen Xiao, he was afraid that there would be no way for him to be promoted. Director Yi. What's the specific situation? Tell me, I trust you. Zhang Yun swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Now that you've said it, I really can't do it. Yi Fala said to Zhang Yun, the room records have been brought out. You can look at them as you wish. But I definitely can't speak carelessly. If there's any rumor in the future and it angers some big leader, I'll have a way out. They'll also know that I'm not speaking carelessly. It's you guys who want to check. You guys are the police and have the right to carry out your duties. But I don't have the right to reveal the guest's information. Zheng Yun was dumbfounded. He had the right to check, but if he really checked someone who shouldn't be checked, then how could he continue to work in the future? Then the entire police station would be Qin Wan Er's world. Oh. Zheng Bin was suddenly enlightened. He finally understood why Qin Wan Er didn't come out. It was because she knew too clearly that checking these things would easily offend people. What a cunning Qin Wan Er. Qin Wan Er, you've really become a person. You can even calculate this. Zheng Bin couldn't wait to slap himself. If this matter was found out, he really offended someone he couldn't afford to offend. If people knew that it was him checking the rooms and causing trouble. No. Zhang Yun didn't dare to continue thinking about it. Wasn't this matter too serious? Bureau Chief Zheng? Bureau Chief Zheng. Yi Fala pulled the distracted Zhang Yun back to reality. If you want to check room by room, then that's not a problem. I'll bring someone to take you there now. But give me a search warrant. If I offend some big boss, then I'll have evidence to explain myself, okay? Zheng Yun wasn't stupid. This Yi Fala knew how to clear his name, so he didn't dare to think about who was staying in the hotel. He was the one leading the team this time. Qin Wan Er and Zhang Guoping didn't participate. If he did something wrong, no one could help him shirk the responsibility. Bureau Chief Zheng, you can carry out the mission at any time. I promise I won't say anything, Yi Fala said. Zhang Yun suddenly laughed. What's there to check? I can't trust anyone but you. Director Yi, I know very well who's staying in your hotel. We can't afford to offend them. I believe that if there's really an unidentified suspicious person staying in your hotel, you'll definitely tell me immediately. Yi Fala pretended to be surprised. That won't do. You're violating the rules. We can't not check. Director Yi, isn't it all because I trust you? Zhang Bin said. With Miss Yi here, what's there for me to be worried about? If I have the time, I might as well check other hotels. Maybe there'll be a bigger harvest. Don't. Won't that violate the rules? Yi Fala said embarrassedly. You're just doing your job. Everyone will understand. Zhang Yun smiled. Director Yi, you're tricking me. I'm sorry to bother you. We still have to go to other hotels. We'll leave first. Bureau Chief Zheng, remember to bring your brothers to eat medicinal cuisine tonight. I'll get the kitchen to prepare it immediately. Yi Fala said, What time do you get off work? Zhang Yun waved his hand. There's no need. We have a lot of work to do now. We don't have time to eat and drink. Don't prepare it. Director Yi, I'll leave first. See you later. Chapter 1927. Shenjiang Black Widow was indeed Shenjiang Black Widow. As long as Yi Fala wanted to do something, there was nothing she couldn't do. Wasn't it just Zheng Yun? To deal with such a person, Yi Fala had a lot of methods. Unfortunately, Zhang Yun didn't have the willpower to take it anymore. He ran away after a few words and didn't give Yi Fala a chance to show her talent. Yi Fala turned her gaze to Su Yun, who was drinking tea in the lounge of the lobby, and smiled. Su Yun also gave her a thumbs up. He knew that it was absolutely safe to arrange for Wen Xiao to stay in Xinkai Hotel. Director Yi, just now the police said that the wanted criminal came to Shenjiang. He wouldn't really come to our hotel to stay, right? The girl at the front desk asked nervously. Many of our guests are also from other places. We didn't even check. Would it be unsafe? Silly girl, you really don't understand what that bureau chief Zheng meant just now. With him walking around like this, I definitely have to find a way to send him an envelope. Yi Fala said, investigating a wanted criminal in a big hotel like ours? Humph. He didn't even look at the status of our guests. If our guests are disturbed, they won't come again. The girl at the front desk was still a little worried. After all, she had never heard of this S-class wanted criminal before. He must be a vicious guy. You don't have to worry. Use your brain and think carefully. If you were a bad guy, would you stay in such a big hotel? Yi Fala said, if it were me, I would definitely choose a small, remote hotel. I don't need to register my identity. Do you understand now? Hearing Yi Fala's explanation, the girl at the front desk was suddenly enlightened. Yes, if it was a bad guy, he would definitely choose a small, remote place. That kind of place was suitable for a bad guy to hide in. Why would a bad guy come to such a magnificent hotel to find excitement? Work hard. I will promote you to manager next year. Yi Fala smiled. She liked this girl very much. She was very serious in her work. After she finished speaking, she pointed at Su Yun's room. That Mr. drinks tea very frequently. Remember to remind the staff on duty in the lobby to add some hot water for him. Okay. The girl at the front desk said seriously. Yi Fala liked her serious attitude. In fact, any job required such a serious attitude. Many people might think that their jobs were too ordinary and had no future, so they treated their jobs with a fooling around attitude. Little did they know that if they couldn't even handle the job in front of them, they wouldn't be able to handle other jobs. Attitude determined everything, and details determined success or failure. This saying was not groundless. Wen Xiao, who had been hiding in the guest room, didn't know that so many things had happened outside. If the police had really come to check the room just now, he would have been caught off guard. If he had been a little careless and exposed himself, then he would have really died before he could achieve anything. Fortunately, Yi Fala had solved all his problems for him. Only then could Wen Xiao continue to quietly think about how he could get in touch with the people from the Jutsai group. Since he couldn't find a breakthrough at the Jutsai building, then Wen Xiao could only set his sights on the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center. This was a very famous place in Shenzhen. There were probably a lot of people who went there. Wen Xiao pondered for a moment. His appearance definitely wouldn't work. He was pretending to be an old man in his 50s or 60s. If he took off his clothes and revealed his thick and strong muscles, no one would believe that he was this age. After thinking for a while, Wen Xiao removed the wig and stood up with his short hair covered in a thick layer of hair gel. He also shaved his beard cleanly. Anyway, he still had a fake beard. If he really needed it, he could still wear a fake one. Then, Wen Xiao put on a pair of sunglasses to cover his injured eyes and put on the loose clothes that he had prepared before coming to Shenzhen. This way, people wouldn't be able to distinguish his height and figure. Wen Xiao waited until 10 o'clock at night before he finally walked out of the room. At this time, Su Yun was no longer in the hotel lobby. He didn't return to his room but went to the hotel's indoor swimming pool. Because he couldn't come into contact with Wen Xiao too frequently, Su Yun's body couldn't find a way to vent, so he could only go to the swimming pool to vent. After Su Yun started to swim in the hotel's pool, more and more women began to gather around the pool. There were young, beautiful, rich, and beautiful women, as well as charming young women. Most of them were not here to swim, but to look at handsome men. Looking around, in the entire hotel swimming pool, who had a better figure than Su Yun? There were people with big bellies and people who were as thin as firewood. Once a tall, rich, and handsome man with a good figure was placed in front of Su Yun, their figures and muscles that they were originally confident in were instantly blown to smithereens. There was no comparison at all. Su Yun's body proportions and perfect muscle lines were simply an unimaginable existence. Some people had good figures, but they didn't have much muscle. Some people had strong muscles, but their figures were out of shape because of too much training. People like Su Yun who had such a perfect combination could only be found in the Dragon Brigade. A few young women's eyes didn't leave Su Yun's body at all. From time to time, they would whisper a few words, and then burst into laughter. It was obvious that if Su Yun gave them a chance, they wouldn't let it go. In addition, there were a few single beauties who all put on the most attractive posture they thought they had, hoping that the brave and handsome man in the water would unintentionally notice them, and then fall in love at first sight and have a beautiful encounter. Unfortunately, Su Yun's thoughts weren't really on picking up girls. He just wanted to swim until he had no energy left in his body. Just like that, Su Yun swam back and forth in the swimming pool dozens of times without resting for even a second. Phew, this endurance simply made those young married women who were whispering to each other feel their whole body heat up. It was really too inconceivable. So there was actually such a top-notch handsome man in this world. With this endurance, if he was thrown into a room, he could probably take care of all of them in one breath. Just thinking about it made them feel hot all over and blush. Unfortunately, they had already realized that this handsome man didn't even look at them. Not to mention them, even the young single ladies didn't seem to be able to attract his attention. Could it be he's gay? Once the rotten thoughts of women started, they would have even more topics to talk about. Poor Su Yun, until he could barely lift his legs, didn't know that he was no longer a straight man in the eyes of the women around the pool. After getting out of the pool, Su Yun quickly used a towel to wipe his hair. The scene of water droplets rolling down his muscles almost made the eyes of the women present stare blankly. It wasn't until this time that Su Yun realized that he was being stared at by so many covetous eyes. For a while, Su Yun didn't know what was going on. He could only smile slightly in the face of so many pairs of appreciative eyes. This smile really melted the hearts of the young girls and opened the hearts of the young women. Su Yun didn't dare to stay any longer. Who knew if he would really be pushed down by someone if he stayed here all the time? He wasn't a casual person. When Su Yun left the pool, Wen Xiao also walked out of the door of Xinkai Hotel. His goal was very clear. Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center was his only breakthrough now. He didn't believe that there wasn't a core member of the Jutsai group responsible for it. Yes, Wan Zhao's plan was to make a scene in the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center. The police were absolutely prohibited in this place. As long as the door was open normally, it meant that there was absolutely no need to be afraid of the police. The Jutsai group wouldn't let the police have evidence, so even if Wen Xiao made a scene inside, he believed that they wouldn't call the police. In ancient times, there was the great sage equal to heaven who made a scene in the Heavenly Palace. Today, let Wen Xiao pay his respects to the senior and make a scene in the Heavenly Palace. Wan Xiao waved his hand to stop a taxi and directly got into the back row. Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center. The taxi driver smiled slightly and said, "Although it's a little expensive, it's safe." He, brother, you don't sound like a local from your accent. You know Heavenly Palace #1? Wan Xiao nodded. Of course, Shenzhen is such a famous place. Who doesn't know about it in the country? Sir, please drive faster. I've been holding back my evil fire for many days. If I don't seize the time to vent it, I'll really suffer internal injuries. Haha, it's good to be young. Good kidney and good waist, everything is good. The driver said enviously, and unconsciously stepped on the accelerator. Chapter 1928. After returning to the room from the pool, Su Yun suddenly had a premonition that something was wrong. He immediately contacted Yifala and tried to use the hotel's internal phone to contact him. However, Yifala dialed the number many times, but no one answered. Obviously, Wan Xiao had left the room. It was already past 10 o'clock in the evening. Where could he go? And if he went out at this time, it was even more impossible for him to meet the people in charge of the Jutsai group, right? What is Wan Xiao planning? Su Yun really didn't understand. If this matter were to be done by Su Yun would definitely use a particularly useful method to deal with this matter. Apply for the security guard position, and then use his domineering skills to completely convince the security team when he encountered a problem. Then, let the senior leaders of the Jutsai group take a fancy to him. Then, he might be transferred to protect their young lady. Then, he would get emotionally involved with their young lady, get access to their confidential matters, get evidence, and then... Isn't this how it is written in online novels? As a security guard, you can not only pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger, but also get to pick up beautiful women, and also carry out special tasks. In the end, you can even become a strong person who rules the universe if you are not careful. This is such an inspirational route and plot. Why didn't Wan Xiao follow this route? Phew. It seems that Wan Xiao is a person with ideas. He doesn't want to take the cliché route. If he wants to go, he will go his own unusual way. It's so late. Is Wan Xiao going to the Jutsai building to find someone who is working overtime? Su Yun was very puzzled. What do you think he is thinking? Do you think the people of the Jutsai group have that kind of thing to do in the Jutsai building? Yifala said, Su Yun, I think your thinking is really confined. It's not as good as Wan Xiao's. The Jutsai building is just a cover for the people of the Jutsai group. Some of the so-called import and export businesses are not very profitable at all. Their main thoughts are not in the Jutsai building at all. That's right. Su Yun nodded. It seemed like she had been bewitched by those web novels. She had been thinking too simply about things. Since the Jutsai group has so many shady businesses, their people must like to go out at night. If there were smuggled goods, they would definitely enter the port at night. Compared to the Jutsai group, not only did they bribe the police to alert them, but they also bribed a lot of the customs officers. Therefore, they would turn a blind eye to their things. In other words, they would simply close their eyes to some things. Could it be that Wan Xiao had gone straight to the point? He wasn't asking him to investigate or collect anything. Instead, he was asking him to go undercover and obtain concrete evidence. There was also an overnight service from 12 in the evening to 8 in the morning. With such service, of course, it was full of guests. Almost every day, there would be thousands of customers coming in and out of Heavenly Palace #1. Many business negotiations and various contracts were signed and settled here. If you excluded the mess inside Heavenly Palace #1, it was really a very good business place. Unfortunately, if Heavenly Palace #1 didn't have so many services, he believed that there wouldn't be so many contracts signed here. Many business managers and customers would also use Heavenly Palace #1 as the best place to make friends. This was no secret in Shenzhen. If a salesperson couldn't go to Heavenly Palace #1 with customers to take a sauna and play games with the technicians, then he wasn't a good salesperson. I'm worried. I'm really worried. Su Yun expressed his worries. After all, that place was a signboard of the Jutsai group. Although Wen Xiao wreaking havoc in the Jutsai Group signboard could quickly get attention, he might also encounter more dangerous difficulties than they imagined. If you're worried, then go. Yi Fara said, but I can tell you, Su Yun, the technicians who often do healthcare for different people really can't be touched. If you get infected, you'll be in trouble. Hearing this, Su Yun felt goosebumps all over his body. It couldn't be helped. He had serious mental mysophobia. When he thought about how these technicians usually treated everyone like that, he would feel uncomfortable all over. Seeing Su Yun's goosebumps all over, Yi Fara smiled. Don't worry, it's not that serious. Heavenly Palace No. 1 will send people to their door every half a month to give their technicians a comprehensive physical examination, especially in that area. Those who are sick will definitely be fired. Su Yun smiled slightly. Don't scare me. My little heart really can't take it. I'm just reminding you kindly. If you really can't control yourself, then remember to take safety measures. No matter what, safety first. A woman with social experience like Yi Fara understood men too well. Su Yun really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You really don't have to worry about this. I'm going. If there's a situation, contact me immediately. Yi Fara waved her hand and signaled Su Yun to go quickly. Heavenly Palace No. 1 is very busy. If you don't go now, the technicians will be booked for the entire night. You won't have a chance. Su Yun grimaced and said, I'll just take a sauna. It's not like I can't take a bath without a technician. Don't worry, it's also quite good without a technician. At least I don't have to worry about not being able to control myself. You really treat Heavenly Palace No. 1 as a bathhouse. Yi Fara shook her head helplessly. Go quickly. I'm worried that Wen Xiao has already made a scene inside. If that's the case, you won't be able to go in. They'll definitely seal the place. This really couldn't be faked. Su Yun nodded and quickly left. If the place was sealed and he couldn't go in, he wouldn't have a chance to help Wen Xiao, who was facing danger inside. Chapter 1929. Su Yun drove straight to the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center. When he arrived at the parking lot outside the resplendent sauna center, he could imagine how popular it would be. Middle-class luxury cars such as Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, and so on were parked everywhere. Of course, there were also cars such as ordinary sedans. Because there were so many cars in the parking lot, Su Yun even spent a few minutes finding a parking space. Even a pig's brain would know that there was something wrong with such a busy sauna center. Just look at the luxury cars outside, which were easily worth millions. If people who could afford such cars really liked saunas, they would have built a sauna room in their own home. Why would they come out every day? It was so troublesome and tiring. Anyway, they were rich. Often, what these people wanted was not the feeling of sauna, but the pleasure of a technician performing a full set of skills on them. After all, this kind of feeling could not be brought to them even by their mistresses. The feeling of being served wholeheartedly could only be found in such a high-end sauna center. Moreover, the face-to-face talks here were more direct. It was an extremely simple transaction without any emotions. Nowadays, rich people seem to be more and more inclined to this kind of straightforward transaction. As soon as Su Yun parked his car, a receptionist hurried forward to open the door for Su Yun and respectfully invited Su Yun to get out of the car. Obviously, Su Yun's Porsche was also a first-class luxury car in the parking lot. This was true, because the rich people who came to the sauna center had not reached the point where they could afford Bentleys and Rolls-Royces. And when they reached the point where they were really rich, they really became social public figures. Social public figures needed to be low-key and pay attention to their influence. Think about it, if you saw Ma or Su's car at the entrance of a sauna center, you would be in the headlines the next day. Sir, how many people are you? Just me. Don't be polite. I'll help myself. Su Yun locked the door and went straight to the lobby. At the entrance of the lobby, there were 6 beautiful receptionists. They welcomed Su Yun in unison, which really startled Su Yun. Then, the customer manager of the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center came up to Su Yun and greeted him warmly, as if he were an old friend who had not seen him for a long time. The account managers in this kind of place had a good memory because they needed to remember what kind of customers were not short of money. "Brother, is this your first time here?" "Hee hee. Are you on a business trip to Shenzhen?" The manager chuckled and said, "Don't worry. You can treat our place as your own home. You can do whatever you want and feel as comfortable as you want." Su Yun nodded and pretended that he was not Hua Xia. He pressed his tongue against his lower teeth and said stiffly, "I used to do business in Shiguan in Guangshan, Hua Xia, and I like the sauna there. Now that I've expanded my business here, I don't know how the sauna in Shenzhen is like." When the manager heard that he was not from Hua Xia, he knew that this must be a big fat piece of meat. However, he said that he often played in Shiguan, so he was obviously a master. Over there was the head of the sauna in Hua Xia. Such a person was probably even more picky. If he wanted to keep such a customer, he had to find him a beautiful and well-behaved one. "Don't worry, brother. I'll definitely make you feel at home." The manager said, "Then I'll take you to get a room now. After choosing a technician, you can enjoy our Shang-style sauna here." Su Yun quickly entered the elevator under the guidance of the manager. The elevator stopped on the 4th floor. After exiting the elevator, Su Yun saw that the place was decorated like a hotel room. The decoration of the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center was actually no different from a hotel room, except that the rooms were equipped with sauna rooms. However, the utilization of the sauna rooms was really not that high. The guests who came here were not really here for the sauna. Everyone knew what kind of transaction they were here for. Su Yun was led into a room by the manager. The layout of the room was very simple. On the left side of the door was a sauna room, in the middle of the room was a big bed, and on the right side was a space surrounded by curtains. Just when Su Yun was wondering what kind of configuration this space was, the manager spoke into the walkie-talkie. He told the technician the room number and asked the technician to let the customer choose. 2 minutes later, the space covered by curtains suddenly lit up. Su Yun was stunned. It seemed that there was really something fishy about this place. At this moment, the manager suddenly opened the curtains. This space was actually a transparent glass space, and inside the space appeared a girl about 25 years old. She had a beautiful face and a very good figure. Her waist was like a willow, but her chest was unusually full. It even made people feel that she could fall down at any time when she walked. The girl made a few seductive gestures in front of Su Yun. Every movement was the kind that could make people burn. The manager smiled and introduced to Su Yun, "This is the ace beauty of Heavenly Palace No. 1, No. 18 Tingting. She is only 23 years old this year. She is good at talking. As for the price, money is not a problem." Su Yun didn't even think about it. He didn't really come here to look for a girl. He just wanted to find someone to waste time here and listen to when Xiao would make a big fuss. "How long does this service last?" "Brother, I can tell that you are a veteran. I will definitely recommend the full set to you. You will definitely feel bored if it is fast food." The manager smiled. Compared to fast food, the full set was definitely more profitable. Moreover, these beautiful girls preferred to do the full set, so they would get more commission. Su Yun nodded. "Okay. If I don't have enough fun, can I add any time?" "Of course you can. Add any time. And if you feel that her service is not good, you can ask for a replacement service at any time. Our service principle is to let customers enjoy the service of God," the manager said confidently. Su Yun said with satisfaction, "Okay, she will do." "Okay." The manager pulled the curtains and the lights inside were turned off. The technician didn't come out from inside. 2 minutes later, he knocked on the door and came in. At this time, the manager left in a hurry. It seemed that there was a secret passage inside. Su Yun smiled. No wonder the police couldn't find it even if they wanted to. The interior design was definitely done by an expert. Su Yun wanted to go in and see what it was like inside. It was like a completely different world. "Hello, sir. I am number 18 Tingting. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you." This small voice was so delicate that it made Su-yun's body go numb. And although Su-yun's mind was focused on the outside world, the current situation really made him a little distracted. No wonder Yi Fala reminded him. Ordinary people really couldn't control themselves. At this time, the girl suddenly opened the small bag she carried with her and took out many sets of clothes. There were sailor outfits, nurse outfits, student outfits, Catwoman outfits. This made Su-yun confused. "Sir, which theme do you prefer?" "I can act as anything," the girl said gently. Su-yun swallowed a mouthful of saliva. No need. I prefer to act as myself." "Sir, you really have good taste," the girl said shyly. "Then I will serve you like this." As she spoke, the girl took off half of her clothes and lifted up her short skirt. "I want to rest for a while. Su-yun, how about this? You go and get some water first. I want to take a bath later." "It's okay, you don't have to worry about your time. I won't mistreat you." With Su-yun's words, the girl was relieved. Actually, it was okay to serve such a handsome guy, even if she was mistreated a little, it was really nothing. When the girl went to get some water, she was puzzled. Such a handsome guy, there would definitely be many girls outside who would take the initiative to send themselves to him. If it was her, if such a handsome guy asked to go on a date with her outside, she would definitely be willing. She would really be willing and would be very happy. Chapter 1930. Su-yun had been in the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center for at least 15 minutes. If Wen Xiao had arrived before him, then he must have arrived earlier than him. Shouldn't he have made a fuss by now? Su-yun lay on the big bed outside and pondered. Could it be that this guy had already fallen for it? Had he fallen into the high-end service here? Phew. Don't just focus on enjoying yourself and forget about proper business. He was no longer the mercenary he used to be. He had once again become a person with the status of a national official. He had to be able to withstand the temptation and seduction of this kind of thing. At this time, Na Tingting had already prepared the hot water for Su-yun. She also took off her coat and stood directly in front of Su-yun. Su-yun was stunned. If this continued, he would lose his integrity. "Brother, the water is ready for you. Let me help you take off your clothes." With that, the girl walked towards Su-yun. Su-yun hurriedly said, "You'd better introduce me to what kind of services you have here first. Let me see if it's comprehensive." "Comprehensive, very comprehensive." The girl walked to Su-yun's side and began to blow air into Su-yun's ear. "Brother, if you go to the sauna first, I'll accompany you to the Emperor's bath. Then I'll give you a tour of the world, and then go sit over there and talk slowly. We're not in a hurry. If there's not enough time, I'll give you more time. Su-yun, you'll pay less." The girl was a little puzzled. She thought that she was still very charming. She had a good figure and good looks. Moreover, she had some plastic surgery on her body. Her breasts and buttocks were all raised. There were also some pink surgeries on other parts of her body. She was definitely able to make men completely unable to control themselves. If it was a high-priced investment on her body, she wouldn't be able to get the full 1998 price. There weren't many girls like her in the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center. They could be counted with 2 hands. Those who were more expensive than her were even rarer. "Brother, do you think I'm not pretty enough?" Seeing Su-yun's hesitation, the girl began to doubt her own charm. "It's true. This is your first time here. If you come here a few more times, you'll know that I'm very good." "No, I didn't say that you're not good. You're very good, really very good," Su-yun said in his heart. This girl has such good conditions, what can't she do? If he didn't know the relationship between the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center and the Jutsai Group, Su-yun really wanted to persuade the girl. However, he couldn't say these words now. Saying these words would definitely arouse suspicion. A man who came to a place where he did this kind of thing but didn't do it would make anyone suspicious. Moreover, Su-yun could see that the girl's expression was somewhat complicated. Obviously, If her service didn't meet the customer's satisfaction, she was likely to be punished. Therefore, she had a certain amount of worry. This kind of worry was the kind that didn't know what to do. I'm a slow warm-up person. Don't be afraid. I'm very sure of your service. I'll still look for you in the future. Soo-yoon comforted the girl. How about this? You dance first and let me warm up. Don't worry, I'll be satisfied with all your services. The worried look on the girl's face receded. Seeing that Soo-yoon really didn't have any malicious intentions, she still started gently. Then I'll show you the wild dance of the golden snake. And come on, dance. I like to watch people dance. Soo-yoon thought, you should dance for an hour. He didn't believe that Wen Xiao wouldn't do anything after an hour. If the uproar in heaven didn't play for an hour, he would definitely make a mistake in judgment if he paid the money and left. The girl began to dance with all her might. In order to express her interest in dancing, Soo-yoon had to watch her without blinking. From time to time, he had to comment and correct her from time to time. In short, he wanted the girl to keep dancing. This dance lasted for half an hour. The girl was tired from dancing, but Soo-yoon didn't ask her to stop. It had to be said that this work was really more tiring than the others. Although the wild dance of the golden snake was also a part of the full set, the average person would only watch it for 3 to 5 minutes. How could there be an audience like Soo-yoon who still let the girl dance after half an hour? Soo-yoon was definitely a kind person. If she danced, she could lose weight and keep fit. If she was healthy, she could also work for a few more years, benefiting the bachelors and those rich little bosses. The customer was God. This was the absolute requirement for the technicians in Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center. So if the customer didn't want to stop, then she couldn't stop. The girl could only continue dancing. Perhaps neither Soo-yoon nor Wen Xiao would have thought that they were only one room apart. Wen Xiao was looking for an excuse to fall out with the technician, so he really wanted to make the act real. Wen Xiao was trying his best to make the technician fall out with him, but he really didn't expect the technician to be so patient. Wen Xiao had done a lot of excessive behavior, but the technician actually endured it. From this point, it could be seen that Heavenly Palace No. 1 had control over these girls. Because the girl didn't dare to do anything disrespectful to Wen Xiao was embarrassed to do something bad again. It seemed that he had to use his trump card. Wen Xiao said sorry to the girl in his heart. In the case of vigorous activity, he shook off his sunglasses and then gave the girl a slap with all his strength. Padash. This slap was really heavy, and the girl's face swelled up in an instant. With this slap, the girl would definitely not be able to receive guests tonight. Maybe the swelling wouldn't go down tomorrow or the day after, and she would be too ashamed to see guests. It was precisely because of this that Heavenly Palace No. 1 had a clear rule. The customers could do whatever they wanted, but they couldn't hit people. As long as they hit people, they would definitely stand up for the technician and punish the customer accordingly. After Wen Xiao slapped the girl, he kicked the girl out of the bed, picked up his glasses and began to put on his clothes, and scolded, "What the hell? You want to pay for this kind of service? Do you know how much my glasses cost? Can you afford it?" Obviously, the glasses were fine. There was a carpet on the floor, so there was no need to worry about anything falling. Even if someone fell, it wouldn't hurt. Wan Zhao's dirty tricks had already made the girl angry, but her job was to make the customers happy, so she didn't dare to resist. Even if she resisted, the supervisor wouldn't stand on her side, so she endured it. But now that Wen Xiao hit her, she had a reason, and the evidence was her swollen face. There was no way to continue. She had to find the supervisor to clarify the matter. It wasn't that she didn't want to serve, but this customer was too difficult to serve. Hitting a technician was prohibited in Heavenly Palace No. 1. "My service is over. You'd better not touch me again." The girl yelled at Wan Xiao, then quickly found a button on the lower left side of the bed and pressed it. Wan Xiao knew that she was calling for help. He. Finally, she called for help. He had waited for too long. "You must pay the price for slapping me." The girl was really angry. She couldn't wait to eat Wan Xiao alive. This kind of man was too hateful. He came out to have fun, but he still had to do such barbaric and violent acts. Wan Shao nodded. Okay, then let me see what price you want me to pay. Generally speaking, this kind of place dealt with things mainly by losing money. As long as you were willing to pay, anything could be solved. Even if you killed a technician and slapped $1 million in front of the supervisor, the matter would be settled. But as long as you didn't pay, the matter could be big or small. If they were ruthless, they would dare to chop off your hand. If they were serious, they would dare to take your life. Someone who could handle such a big event could handle the people who came to play in his place. It was that simple. People who couldn't handle wouldn't come to his place to play, so there was no need to worry about people they couldn't afford to offend. Don't be so arrogant. There will be a time when you cry. Once a woman was really anxious, she would definitely be more ruthless than a man. Now, the girl's face was burning with pain. If she could really chop off Wen Zhao's hand, she really wanted to chop it off. Of course, she also knew that she couldn't do anything before the supervisor made a decision. If the customer was willing to pay enough money, it didn't need to be much. 30,000 yuan fell to the ground, and the supervisor dared to let the customer continue to slap her. So before everything was settled, she could only say a few harsh words to threaten the customer and vent the anger in her heart. Chapter 1931. Just after the girl pressed the button under the bed, someone quickly rushed up. A gentle-looking man wearing glasses was obviously the person in charge of this place, and he didn't come alone. Beside him was a woman of about 35 years old, who should be the mother of these technicians. Behind these two people who seemed to have some authority, stood two very strong men. These two people were obviously hired thugs in this bath center. It could be seen from their clothes that they were wearing sportswear from head to toe. They didn't look like white-collar workers at all. Nowadays, it was too easy to distinguish a person's identity. They wore simple and casual clothes, but the quality of their clothes was the best. They were definitely boss level. Suits, leather shoes, and a clean shirt usually belonged to a manager. Sportswear, sports shoes, a tight t-shirt, and a slim jacket were basically unemployed. Of course, there were some who weren't. Everything was not so absolute. Many web writers who wrote novels also wore sportswear and sports shoes, although the identity of these people was no different from unemployed. Seeing these people, the girl quickly ran to the 35-year-old woman's side, pointed at her swollen face, and began to cry. People in this line of work had seen all kinds of customers. This was just a slap. There was once a customer who broke several ribs with a kick. This was a very normal thing because there were always some people in this society who felt that they had to be the boss if they paid. Because they were especially arrogant when they made money, they felt that others should also be arrogant when they made money. Such people were really not rare. Even if you ate skewers at a roadside stall, you could meet such people who pretended to be the boss. They ordered a large bottle of ginseng draft beer that cost 3 yuan, a plate of peanuts and edamame, and 10 skewers. If these 10 skewers were served slowly, they could roar to death at the stall owner. The total cost was less than 30 or 50 yuan, and they still pretended to be the boss. Think about it, even those poor people could be so pretentious. Coming to this Heavenly Palace No. 1 sauna center to play fast food cost 300 or 500 yuan. Some of these people must be pretentious. They didn't treat the technicians as human beings, and they were everywhere. However, as time passed, everyone knew that this Heavenly Palace No. 1 sauna center was not a place where people could behave atrociously casually. Gradually, no one dared to behave atrociously here. The customers who had behaved atrociously here before didn't dare to come again, because they knew that they kicked a hard stone and were not qualified to act atrociously. Take the technicians here for example. Some of them could call 30 or 50 people to cripple them with a phone call. Not to mention the people who could afford this place. These technicians were afraid that they would be beaten every day because they didn't serve the customers well. How capable could these people be? How could these people know? Except for the year when Heavenly Palace No. 1 was first opened, some people would cause trouble here. Now, many years had passed, and no one dared to cause trouble here. No one was stupid. They didn't want to break an arm or a leg. If they broke a third leg, they would be crippled for the rest of their lives. Sir, we have a written rule here that you can't beat the technicians. I believe that when our account manager brought you here, he has already told you that if you are not satisfied with anything, you can contact us. We can help you change the technicians at any time, but in any case, no matter what the reason is, you can't beat them. The person in charge with glasses spoke in a very feminine way. Maybe it was because he had stayed in this kind of place with many women for a long time. When Xiao lit a cigarette and didn't speak, he just looked at the person in charge with a smile. He knew with his toes that such a small matter would not alarm the big official, who really had the final say. The person in charge with glasses saw that when Xiao didn't react at all and continued, "As long as you don't beat her, you can directly complain to us if her service is not good. We will definitely help you solve the problem you want to solve at the first time. But if you beat her, then it's your fault. Do you understand what I mean? Don't F***ing you. I feel that it's pretentious." Wan Xiao spat. "Just say it directly. What do you want to do? I don't listen to those nonsense. These glasses are my treasure. I don't take them off when I come out to take a bath in the sauna. Do you think I will let it go if she beat me?" Hearing Wan Xiao say this, the person in charge with glasses was a little speechless. "Sir, glasses are just glasses after all. How can they be the same as a person? You didn't break your glasses, but you broke our technician's glasses. Aya, we are all people who wear glasses. Why is it so difficult for me to communicate with you? Just say it directly. How do you want to settle this?" Wan Xiao slammed the table with a bang. At this time, the two thugs began to whisper to the person in charge with glasses. It seemed that they wanted to take action. "Sir, since we can't explain this matter clearly, then fine, I won't pursue any responsibility. For this matter, you can directly compensate the technician with 8,000 yuan to make up for the lost time of work for the past 3 days," the person in charge with glasses said directly. 8,000 yuan? Loss of work? Wan Xiao laughed immediately. "I thought you came up to apologize to me and ask me not to be angry. Logically speaking, I came here to have fun and relax. In the end, I didn't do anything and I have to compensate? I haven't had my fun yet. Today's bill isn't even waived. It's our negligence that you didn't have fun. We will waive the bill. You don't have to pay anything today." I said, "Don't say you. I can't stand it." Wan Xiao glared. "Okay, we will waive the bill. You just have to pay the 8,000 yuan loss of work. Everything is over. We will definitely not pursue any responsibility," the manager with glasses said again. Wan Xiao waved his hand. "I think you should pursue it. I also want to see what responsibility I have. Why don't we call the police and let the police be the judge? Are you deliberately looking for trouble? If you want to die, say it clearly." The two thugs began to rub their fists and were eager to fight. Wan Xiao could now see that this was called using peaceful means before resorting to force. As long as he paid, nothing would be a problem. If he didn't want to pay, then sorry, he would just use his fists. It was impossible to let him leave here easily. If it was someone else, they might be afraid, but Wan Xiao wasn't. Wan Xiao wanted this kind of effect. He wanted the other party to be completely enraged. Only then would he be able to play tricks in this small space. "I really want to find trouble. What can you do to me?" Wan Xiao's provocation was too straightforward. He didn't put the two strong thugs in his eyes at all. This also thoroughly angered the two thugs. The two of them almost took off their clothes at the same time. The person in charge with glasses opened his hands and blocked the two thugs behind him. He reminded Wan Xiao for the last time, "Sir, you'd better think clearly. I can tell you very responsibly that if you really want to go against us, we will definitely make you regret it." Wan Xiao nodded. "It's a pity. In my life, I haven't done anything that I regret. If you can really make me regret, I really want to thank you for giving me a chance to regret. Really, what I said is true. Come on, let me regret it." The person in charge with glasses saw that Wen Xiao was stubborn. He really had no other way. They opened the bathing center not to beat people, but to make money. So, as long as they had money, all problems could be solved. But if they didn't pay, it didn't make any sense to solve the problem. Instead, the two thugs would be exhausted. Forget it. Since this guy was so stubborn, he couldn't be blamed for being ruthless. Beat him. Beat him to death. Beat him until he was crippled. Let him know that this place was not a place where he could behave atrociously. How is it? Haven't you thought about how to make me regret it? Wen Xiao couldn't wait. He was determined to cause trouble in Heavenly Palace today. He wanted to see how much tolerance the real backbone of Jutsai Group had and when he would show up. At this time, Heavenly Palace No. 1 hadn't sealed off the area yet. For their thugs, this little thing was a piece of cake. They could solve it in minutes. There was no need to seal off the area at all. Of course, this was just the current thought of these two thugs. They soon regretted their idea. This kind of overconfidence definitely made them do something that they would regret. Wen Xiao still didn't get the chance to regret what he wanted. Chapter 1932. The two burly men suddenly made their move. They jumped up high and rushed directly at Wen Xiao like hungry tigers pouncing on their prey. Wen Xiao was not to be trifled with. He welcomed the incoming man with a kick. This high kick was completely beyond the imagination of the two burly men. The burly man who pounced too hard hit Wen Xiao's foot with his face. Wen Xiao suddenly exerted force with his knee, and the force kicked out along his calf. The burly man didn't have time to swing his fist out at all. His whole body flew straight up. When he fell heavily to the ground, his head slammed into the wall behind him. After a muffled bang, his whole body was motionless. He fell directly to the ground, and his brain went into complete shock. The other man saw that his brother didn't even have a chance to make a move before he was knocked down. He was a little confused for a while. Of course, this feeling was only for a while. After all, for professional thugs like them, even if they saw the arms of the people around them being cut off, they still had to do it when it was time to do it. Otherwise, why would the boss spend so much money on you every month? Could it be that it was just to watch? An army was trained for 1,000 days to be used in a single moment. Nothing happened in Tiangong No. 1 for a year. Now that something happened and they couldn't handle it, then they really couldn't make a living in this industry in the future. No one would give them a price. This was society, and it was realistic. It was not easy to do any job. The second burly man sighed in his heart. He picked up a chair next to him and swung it at Wen Xiao desperately. If he couldn't win in close combat, then he would use his weapon. These thugs were all ruthless characters. They were not afraid of killing people. Otherwise, how could they get so much money every month in Tiangong No. 1? Boom! This swing hit nothing. Wen Xiao dodged the opponent's swift and violent attack with a sidestep. For Wen Xiao, this was really an understatement. There wasn't even the slightest bit of nervousness on his face. It was as if he was doing something very ordinary. Avoiding this level of attack really didn't give Wen Xiao any sense of superiority. He suddenly slapped the other party in the face. "You are so slow, and you want to fight with me?" Without waiting for the other party to refute, Wen Xiao raised his knee and gave a heavy blow. Before the other party could speak, saliva flowed out of his mouth. "It hurts." It was a heart-wrenching pain, as if all his internal organs had been completely destroyed by Wen Xiao's knee. "You are the manager, right?" Wen Xiao glanced at the gentleman with glasses. "You are looking for someone to fight with me, right? Is it because you don't want me as a regular customer anymore?" Did he think that the customer was no longer God? "You don't want to open this sauna center anymore, do you?" When the person in charge saw this, he was a little overwhelmed. In the past, he had never seen anyone who could take down these two fierce brothers so easily. Now, even if they fought, they couldn't beat him, and the technician's face couldn't be recovered. More importantly, The other party didn't intend to pay any compensation at all. They didn't intend to pay a single cent. How dare you hit people in Heavenly Palace 1? I think you're really tired of living. Do you know who opened our sauna center? Unlike the person in charge with glasses, the 35-year-old chicken mommy standing next to him was anxious and directly shouted at Wen Xiao. Wen Xiao was too lazy to care about her. This kind of person was the most hateful. They were both women. She should know the consequences of girls in this industry, but instead of advising, she encouraged and led the development of this industry. This kind of person was of course hateful, and it made people gnash their teeth in hatred. What does it have to do with you, old woman? Get lost. You should be able to see that I'm not the kind of person who doesn't hit women. Wen Xiao glared at the chicken mommy. Nonsense, everyone could see that the technician's face was still swollen. Speaking of which, this Wen Xiao was really ruthless. He was really willing to hit her. But there was really no other way. Wen Xiao had to hit her. If he didn't hit her hard enough, the girl would think that he was flirting with her. So, if he wanted to hit her, he had to hit her hard. The chicken mommy was generally not a good-tempered person. Because she needed a certain aura to suppress the willfulness of ordinary girls, she was really not afraid of anything. But facing this fiendish Wen Xiao today, she really couldn't muster up that shrewish spirit of hers. Everyone was afraid of being hit. Thinking about this customer's heavy slap on her face, she really didn't have the face to see anyone. The person in charge with glasses was really calm. He tried to reason with Wen Xiao. Friend, I can see that you're not a local, and it's your first time here. I can understand that you think you're very powerful, so you don't need to be afraid of us. But I also advise you that a strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. If you want to take advantage of our place and leave, it's impossible. I'm really not threatening you, and I'm really not bluffing you. I've given you a chance. I hope you won't continue to force me. With a clang, Wen Xiao picked up the chair that had just fallen beside him. The chair heavily smashed onto the refined, bespectacled man's body. The man in glasses quickly blocked with both hands. But, as he had never fought before, he was still in pain from the hit. His hands were trembling. You better not try to challenge our bottom line. The refined glasses man was angry. Perhaps it had been a long time since someone dared to provoke him like this. Wen Xiao wanted to see what their bottom line was. Clang. The refined glasses man was grabbed by the neck by Wen Xiao and directly pressed against the wall. Let's see what can you do to me with your weak body? Wen Xiao sneered. At this time, the technician and the chicken mommy screamed and ran out of the room. This time, the commotion finally became a little louder. Su Yun, who was one room away, naturally heard the noise outside. The girl who was still dancing like a golden snake was also stunned. In this place, which had not caused any trouble for more than a year, the chicken mommy's voice definitely surprised her. Su Yun frowned slightly and said, "What's the situation? Your place seems to be quite chaotic. Can't the boss control it?" The girl looked at the door blankly and shook her head. Impossible. Our boss is definitely someone who can control Shen Jiang. Almost no one dares to cause trouble in our sauna center. That's good. No one has caused trouble before. Today, the one who caused trouble was definitely Wen Xiao. Make trouble, the bigger the better, Su Yun thought in his heart. Brother, don't worry. Even if someone causes trouble, we will quickly deal with it here. We will play by ourselves. Don't worry. The girl said, Brother, I've been dancing for so long. Why don't I move on to the next project? Su Yun pointed in the direction of the door. Wait, I'd better listen to what's going on outside. If things get out of hand, I won't even have a chance to pull up my pants. The girl did not say anything. After all, it was the first time he came here to play. It was normal for him to be worried. If it was an old acquaintance, he would definitely not be worried. Brother, it's okay. It will be fine. The chicken mommy's scream directly alarmed all the people who were watching the scene. Because no one knew what was going on, Tiangong No. 1 quickly sealed the place. The people outside were not allowed to enter, but the people inside could not go out either. Soon, more than a dozen strong thugs rushed to the crime scene. The sound in the corridor was noisy, and Su Yun could hear it clearly. "No, I'm really worried about this." As Su Yun spoke, he got up and walked to the door. The girl wanted to stop him, but she could not. Su Yun opened the door and saw more than a dozen people in black t-shirts in the corridor. Everyone had an unfriendly look on their faces. Seeing that a guest opened the door, the nearest thug directly stepped forward and wanted to close the door. "Brother, you play by yourself. Don't worry, it's just a small matter. We will quickly deal with it." Su Yun's eyes were sharp. He immediately observed the situation of these people. Obviously, the people who came this time really wanted to show the troublemakers who were in charge. Su Yun even saw a bulge in the back of the leader's waist. It was obviously a pistol. "Is it really okay?" "Su Yun, why do I feel like something big is going to happen? If something happens, it will only happen to those who want to cause trouble. It will definitely not affect our other guests." "Don't worry," the thug in black said as he forced Su Yun to close the door. Su Yun did not want to arouse suspicion, so he obediently let the thug in black close the door. Chapter 1933. Wan Zhao's room had been surrounded by more than a dozen thugs. These people didn't look much different from the previous two. For Wan Zhao, it didn't matter. He was just dealing with a group of thugs raised in a sauna center. It didn't require any skill. However, the leader of this group of thugs was obviously not a good person. He could tell at a glance that Wan Zhao was a strong guy, because this guy looked too relaxed, and there wasn't even a trace of sweat on his forehead. This meant that he had taken down his two subordinates as easily as blowing off dust. This clearly showed that there was a huge gap in strength between them to be able to do so. Therefore, he made a prompt decision. Among his men, of course, including himself, no one could be a match for this guy in front of him. Facing such an opponent, he would never be stupid enough to fight an egg against a stone. He could become the boss of these people not only by relying on his fists, but also his brain. In today's society, no matter what industry you were in, you couldn't achieve anything without using your brain. Even if you were a boss in a nightclub, you still needed to rely on your IQ. IQ was the basic guarantee that a person could make the right decision at a critical moment. Just when the group of thugs was eager to try and beat up Wan Zhao in the room, the leader took out a pistol from behind his waist. Although it was just an ordinary .54 pistol, it was enough to make the brothers present a little surprised. They hadn't even started, and the boss took out a gun? Was it so serious? They were just dealing with a customer who beat up a technician. They just needed to beat him up until he paid. "Aren't you very arrogant? Continue to be arrogant in front of me." The leader of the thugs sneered. He pointed the pistol at Wan Zhao's face and strode forward. People who had a pistol pointed at their heads knew that the feeling of being in control of their life and death was very unpleasant. This wasn't a sword, a stick, an axe, a hook, or a fork. Basically, it would only cause a little injury. The bullet was something that was shot out while spinning. It was something that exploded in the target's body. No one could guarantee that they would be killed with one shot. Therefore, people who were pointed at by a pistol would be afraid. This was also the reason why the leader of this group of thugs dared to walk into the room so arrogantly. He dared to be so unscrupulous because he had a pistol in his hand that could decide the life and death of his opponent. Unfortunately, the person he was facing was Wan Zhao. Wan Zhao couldn't remember how many times he had brushed past bullets, so he couldn't think of any reason to be afraid of a fake Type 54. As a mercenary king from the Special Forces, he was not an ordinary person. Big brother, a pistol? This thing can't be pointed at casually." Wan Zhao smiled. "If it misfires, then it will be a big problem." There's a heavy sentence for murder. Upon hearing Wan Zhao's words, the boss of the thugs became even more arrogant. "Now you know how to be afraid. What were you doing just now? Isn't that pretty awesome? Come. Hit me again. I'll stretch my face out. Do you dare to hit me?" His arrogance made people feel that he was too despicable. If Wen Xiao had not turned over a new leaf, he would have killed every single one of them in Southeast Asia and not a single one of them would be left. If you want to act tough, you need to have the ability to do so. With just this little ability, you want to imitate those movies and pretend to be a big brother? As long as Big Brother wants me to hit you, I dare to hit you. Wen Xiao smiled. Damn. You're quite stubborn. Try hitting me. The boss of the thugs became anxious and roared angrily. In the blink of an eye, Wen Xiao swung his arm and gave him a tight slap across his face. The sound of the slap lit up all the voice-activated lights in the corridor upstairs and downstairs. After receiving this slap, the boss of the thugs felt that his head was filled with silver stars. This bastard was really brave. He didn't hesitate at all when he said he would hit him. He was stunned from the slap. If he didn't teach this guy a lesson today, he wouldn't be able to stay in this place in the future. He was holding a gun and was slapped by someone. Who would listen to him? I'll shoot you today. The boss of the thugs scolded and was about to hit him. At this time, he felt that his hands were empty. That's right, both of his hands were empty. Where was the gun? A second ago, it was still in his hands. How did it disappear in a second? Soon, the boss of the thugs saw a black hole in front of him. He raised his head and saw that the other party was aiming a gun at him. At such a close distance, he could see the muzzle of the gun when he raised his head. At such a distance, even a fool with his eyes closed could be shot in the head. The boss of the thugs withered. Nothing was more important than life. Everyone knew that. Compared to life, face was insignificant. It was fine if he didn't want face. Big brother. Let's not joke around. This gun is loaded. Don't do anything stupid. The boss of the thugs changed his arrogance and said to Wen Xiao gently, "We're all brothers. If there's anything, let's sit down and talk about it slowly. We can definitely think of a solution." Big brother, don't you think what I said makes sense? Wen Xiao nodded. It makes sense. The other party's expression turned slightly better. But Wen Xiao's tone changed. Bullshit. Why don't you take a look at yourself? Sit down and talk about it slowly? When you pointed this thing at me just now, why didn't you say to sit down and talk with me? Now you want to change your mind? No. I didn't mean that just now. I was just joking with Big Brother. The boss of the thugs was suffering in his heart. This time, he really lost all his face in front of his brothers. Losing face didn't affect the family's food. But if he lost his life, there was really no chance to get it back. Seeing that their boss was scared, many of the thugs were a little unhappy. But after all, the initiative was in their hands. They really didn't dare to look for trouble. There was a good saying, the gun shoots the bird that sticks out. Now, all the conflicts were concentrated on their boss. No one was willing to be the bird that sticks out. That's a great joke of yours. It even made me want to make a joke. Wen Xiao directly pointed the gun at the boss's mouth. Say, if I shoot a bullet from this direction, can the bullet accurately go through your anus? When the boss heard this, he couldn't help but feel his chrysanthemum tighten. This guy is really too ruthless. Even his words are so vivid. If it's penetrated, won't the person die? The boss forced a smile. Brother, it's better not to joke like this. It's too dangerous. He. Let's put this thing down. We can talk about it slowly. You can use it to joke with me, but I can't use it to joke with you. Wen Xiao said, Are you discriminating against me? As he said this, Wen Xiao even used the gun to fiercely point at this guy's head. The boss suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He was really scared. It wasn't like he hadn't encountered a gun that went off accidentally, especially this type of fake 54. As long as the bullet was loaded and the safety was opened, it could go off directly during the process of hitting. Now, there was a gun pointed at his head. How could he not be afraid? If he didn't go to the toilet just now, he would really be scared to the point of peeing. I'm really joking with Big Brother. If I'm lying, I'll be struck by lightning 5 times. The person who made this oath was definitely an atheist. Otherwise, He wouldn't dare to say this. It was too vicious. Wen Xiao shook his head helplessly. The other person had already said it so decisively. Wen Xiao really didn't want to make things difficult for him. Okay. I believe you. I'll return the gun to you. Don't make this kind of joke in the future. After saying that, Wen Xiao really gave the gun to the boss of the thugs. This behavior was too strange. Not only did the boss not expect it, but no one else thought that the other party would do this kind of behavior. At this time, the boss immediately became spirited. He absolutely couldn't admit defeat. In the face of such a dangerous opponent, it was best to shoot him in the leg first to ensure his safety. After the boss took the gun, he didn't even hesitate for a second. He directly aimed at Wen Xiao's knee and pulled the trigger. However, everything did not happen according to the setting. The pistol was jammed with a click. The hatchet man panicked at that time and tried to pull the trigger again. However, the pistol was indeed jammed and could not fire at all. Who was Wen Xiao? How many years had he been playing with guns? Not to mention a fake 54, even if it was a US military assault rifle in his hands for a few seconds, he had a way to turn the gun into a dud gun that could never fire. It seems that I'm really lucky. Wen Xiao smiled. Of course, he wouldn't tell the other party what he did to the gun. This gun jammed at the right time. Otherwise, wouldn't my leg be crippled? Chapter 1934. The thug boss wasn't as cowardly as he appeared to be now. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to shoot after taking back the gun. If he dared to pull the trigger, he wasn't a coward. To put it bluntly, it was because of this gun. One moment, he had a gun, the next moment, he didn't have a gun, and the next moment, his gun jammed. This back and forth made his sense of superiority come and go. That was why he was arrogant when he had a gun, but he was afraid when he didn't have one. When the gun jammed, his brain was also jammed. Boss, are you okay? The brothers behind him could see that their boss was in a cold sweat, and his face was a little pale. The battle hadn't even started yet, and he was already so cowardly? This wasn't their boss's usual style. He was usually very arrogant. He wasn't really scared. He was just stunned. His whole body was stunned. This imitation 54 was given to him by the boss. He had always cherished it. He also learned how to disassemble it and maintain every part of the gun. Because he knew that only by playing with this gun well could he have a chance to get a better reward from the boss again. He saw that the boss had other weapons. What was an imitation 54? The boss had Beretta, Colt, all kinds of world-famous pistols, and all kinds of weapons from the US military. If he couldn't even cherish this imitation 54, how could he have the face to ask the boss for other treasures? Therefore, he had always treated this gun as a treasure. It was absolutely impossible for it to jam? Why is this? Why did he drop the ball at the crucial moment? Do you know why your gun doesn't work? Wen Xiao could see the surprise in the thug boss's heart. When he asked this, the guy immediately raised his head. His eyes were full of doubts. Obviously, this kind of doubt meant that he really wanted to know what Wen Xiao had done to his baby. This wasn't just an imitation 54 broken pistol. He could also get this thing on the black market. This was given by the boss. It represented a kind of trust from the boss. Of course, he would be angry if it was broken. Don't look at me like that. I didn't do anything. Wen Xiao smiled provocatively. It's because the bullets in this gun are the same as you. They're all cowards. They don't even dare to come out when they see me. Even if they do come out, they know that they can't kill me and will be tortured by me instead. Do you understand? After being scolded as a coward in front of everyone, the thug boss couldn't care less anymore. His IQ, which was usually known for being quick-witted, had completely gone out of control. There was only one word in his mind: fight. Brothers, let's go. Today, we can't let this person go out alive. The thug boss ordered, and a group of people immediately swarmed forward. However, because the boss of the thugs was blocking the door, everyone's reaction speed was not that fast. Wen Xiao was also not careless. After the other party arrogantly said those words, he made his move. Suddenly, he bounced up and hit the boss's face with his knee. This kind of Muay Thai move was more than enough to deal with this kind of hooligan thug. With this knee strike, the hired thug boss's face instantly changed beyond recognition. His face was really dyed. His nose, cheekbone, and other bones were probably all broken. If it was a normal day, Wen Xiao would really let it go. However, today, he was bound to make a big deal out of it. Naturally, he wouldn't stop. Following that, he punched the boss's stomach. The pain of his ribs breaking and piercing into his flesh was probably only known by that guy himself. The severe pain on his face and stomach made the usually valiant hired thug boss completely faint. His body was like a door frame, directly blocking the door of the room. If anyone wanted to come in and die, they would have to step over this guy's body. The thugs who were eager to give it a try were now scared. It was just 2 moves, just 2 simple moves, and the boss was dead? Even if their boss could still make some moaning sounds, they wouldn't be as frightened as they were now. It was really frightening. 3 seconds ago, a living person had declared that he would kill the other party. Now, he was lying in front of them without making any sound. This kind of exaggeration was completely beyond their imagination. Su Yun had been listening in the room next door. The girl who was dancing wildly and sweating all over was also listening. Suddenly, it was unusually quiet outside. Phew! The girl breathed a sigh of relief. Brother, don't worry. I said it will definitely be solved, so it will definitely be solved. Look, there's no movement. I reckon that the troublemaker has already been dealt with by our people. Don't let their matters affect you. Come on, let's start. I've disturbed you just now. My dance time won't be counted as your time. Su Yun was stunned. She even gave him half an hour of free golden snake wild dance? Didn't they say that actors were heartless and bitches were heartless? What kind of situation was today? The outside was so quiet. Su Yun didn't believe that those people had dealt with Wen Xiao. If they had dealt with Wen Xiao, these thugs would have already screamed and expressed their excitement. This kind of silence was more like they were scared. They were so scared that they didn't know what to do next. Su Yun was curious as to what Wen Xiao had done to make this place so quiet. Could it be that he had really killed someone? Brother, let's start? The girl said as she stuck to Su Yun's body. Her hands touched down through Su Yun's pants. Su Yun's mind was focused on the movement outside. He wasn't prepared at all. After being attacked by this girl, he had goosebumps all over his body. Brother, are you scared? Why don't you have any reaction at all? The girl was a little surprised. Su Yun signaled the girl not to touch him first. I say, sister, think about it. Someone could die outside at any time. Can I still be so calm and have sex with you in this room? Of course not. I'm really not in the mood now. I'll be frank. I'm definitely scared. The girl looked at Su Yun embarrassedly. She really liked such an elegant guest. Brother, it's really okay. Our people have dealt with it. They won't disturb any guests. Also, when you go down later to explain the situation, we will definitely give you a discount to express our apologies. It doesn't matter if you give me a discount or not. I don't care about this little money. I'm just afraid that someone will barge in when I'm having sex with you. What should I do if that happens? Su Yun said seriously, this psychological trauma is very difficult to cure. The girl didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at Su Yun. AI, what should she say to this guest? Could it be that she could earn money so easily today? Was it enough to just dance and not do anything else? It would be better if it was like this every day. The people outside were still staring at each other. No one dared to step forward. Wen Xiao was even more arrogant. He leaned against the door and said, What's the matter? Brothers, are you all prepared to stare at me? Unfortunately, brother isn't interested. Where's your boss? It affected my leisure and entertainment. Other than the free bill, do you still have to compensate me? This guy was really crazy. The dozen of thugs had never seen such an arrogant person. What are you all doing? Did the boss hire you to act dumb? Mother Hen looked at this scene from afar and was furious. There are so many of you and you can't even beat him. Then, are you all idling here? If you don't take down this person today, all of you can scram. Scram. Faced with the pressure of being fired, the dozen of them seemed to have suddenly returned to life. They roared and rushed toward Su Yun. That's right, they had to protect their jobs. This was their rice bowl, and it was a rice bowl that could never be picked up again once it was smashed. No other nightclub rice bowl was more delicious and simple than Heavenly Palace one. Therefore, they had to settle this matter today. And whoever could take down this person in the end might even replace their unconscious boss as the big brother. The pressure of being fired and the motivation of being promoted could really make a person look like a new person with explosive power. The noise outside became noisy again. Su Yun snorted softly. Wen Xiao, you really know how to play. You gave them enough time to consider whether to report this matter to the person in charge. Not bad, not bad. The girl serving Su Yun also became nervous when she heard the noise outside. This was really something she didn't expect. Why did it start again? This was really a little exaggerated. What kind of person could make their people unable to deal with him? AI, but let's not talk about others. Wasn't she also unable to deal with this customer in front of her? Chapter 1935. It only took Wen Xiao more than 2 minutes to knock down all of them. Chicken Mommy, who was standing more than 10 meters away, was completely dumbfounded. What kind of person was this? Were his fists that strong? She didn't give them any chance to fight back at all. She didn't even see what was going on, and it was already over. Wasn't it a little too fast? Fortunately, the gentle-looking man in glasses was a shrewd person. When he realized that something was wrong, he ran away. As he went downstairs, he made a phone call. He had to inform the boss about this matter because this customer was too unusual. He suspected that he was here to seek revenge. After the phone call, the gentleman in glasses ordered people to quickly seal all the exits. He must not let this person escape. Now Wen Xiao was definitely the #1 terrorist in the entire Heavenly Palace #1 sauna center. He must be completely killed and annihilated. The person in charge of Heavenly Palace #1 would never allow a person who made trouble in Heavenly Palace to leave standing. The staff in Heavenly Palace #1 had obviously been strictly trained. After the gentleman in glasses gave the order, they all went to work. There was only one person who didn't react, and that was the assistant manager under the bespectacled man. This guy really didn't have any ability. Usually, other than sleeping with prostitutes, he really didn't do anything else. However, he knew how to flatter, so he had never been fired by the bosses. If nothing happened on a normal day, the gentleman in glasses really wouldn't use him for anything. But today was different. As the deputy manager, he had to come out and do something he should do. The short-haired young man who was pulled out of the ladies' lounge by the man in glasses was the deputy manager of their Heavenly Palace #1 sauna center. This short-haired young man's physical fitness should be particularly good. He mingled in this kind of place with women all day long, but he didn't look like a good-for-nothing who was hollowed out by wine and women. He looked quite strong. Brother, there are only so many things going back and forth in this place every day. You can do it yourself. Why do you need me? The short-haired young man was very surprised. To be honest, he was arranged in this place purely because of his personal interest. Otherwise, he would have left long ago because he felt that it was a waste of talent. He really didn't need him. The gentleman in glasses was already out of breath at this moment. Something happened. There is a guy upstairs who is very good at fighting. He released all of Zhu Chong's people. Hearing this, the short-haired young man was instantly energized. I've already called the big boss. They told us to control the scene. No matter how chaotic it is, we can't let anyone leave. The man with glasses said, "That's why I asked you to come out and help." Once that guy disturbs the guests, we can't let the guests leave no matter what. We have to appease the guests. In a while, the big boss will naturally bring people to give all the guests an explanation. He will also let everyone see with their own eyes the consequences of causing trouble in our heavenly palace. The short-haired youth frowned. Which floor is he on? It's on the 3rd floor. The bespectacled man nodded. Suddenly he paused and asked in confusion, "What do you want to do?" "Of course I want to meet him." The short-haired youth said, "Brother, the bosses didn't arrange for me to work here for free. I know what I should do when it's time for me to take action." The bespectacled man seemed to be quite concerned about the short-haired youth. "Are you crazy? Zhao Honglong, think carefully. That guy single-handedly took care of Zhu Chong and a dozen of his brothers. Zhu Chong still has a gun." "Brother, you don't have to worry," Zhao Honglong said confidently. "Zhu Chong and the others are nothing. Even if you give him a light machine gun and 50 of his brothers, I can still cripple him, let alone a broken 54. The bespectacled man hurried forward to pull him back. "This is not the time to show off. Zhao Honglong, think carefully. I know you always feel that the big boss is using you for a petty purpose, but this is not the time to be angry, nor is it the time to show off." The reason why Zhao Honglong would call him brother was because the bespectacled man had never treated him as an outsider. He really treated him as his brother. No matter how lazy he was, the bespectacled man had never said a single bad word about him, nor had he complained about him in front of the big boss. All this time, Zhao Honglong had been very grateful for this. "Brother, I won't hide it from you," Zhao Honglong said lightly. "The guy upstairs can take care of Zhu Chong and the others so easily. Obviously, he's not an ordinary person. He must be an expert." Although the bespectacled man had a conclusion in his heart, he couldn't help but be a little surprised. "Why do you think I was arranged here by the big boss?" Zhao Honglong suddenly asked, and then fell into a particularly uncomfortable state. "It's because I'm too conceited and made some small mistakes, so the big boss wants to punish me and put me here to help you. Brother, if you weren't good to me, I wouldn't be able to stay here. I'm also a true dragon. I've been through life and death with the big boss. I'm different from Zhu Chong and the others." The bespectacled man looked at Zhao Honglong in surprise and wondered, "You and the big boss?" "I used to be the big boss's man," Zhao Honglong said bluntly. He had been hiding this matter, and no one had told him. The bespectacled man's face was full of disbelief. In fact, he was acting. Since the first day Zhao Honglong came here, he realized that this guy was different from others, so he had always treated him differently. Even if he didn't do anything and made him very disgusted, Zhao Honglong would never notice it. For a long time, the bespectacled man made Zhao Honglong feel that he treated him very well because he had always suspected that Zhao Honglong was the big boss's man. Today, Zhao Honglong admitted it himself. The bespectacled man suddenly had a feeling that his investment had paid off. To be honest, this feeling was really good, but he still had to pretend to be suddenly enlightened. You've been hiding it from me?" "Brother, I really didn't mean it. I just didn't have the face to say it. After all, I was punished to this place by the big boss." Zhao Honglong said, "You see, every time the big boss comes, don't I serve him like a grandson? I really don't want to fight for power with you. I just want to leave here and go to the platform that can let me fight." The bespectacled man nodded seriously. "It's really a waste of your talent here. I knew it. When I first saw you, I knew that a golden fish is not a fish in a pool. Sooner or later, you will have a meteoric rise." Zhao Honglong was encouraged by the bespectacled man, and the blood in his heart surged. "Brother, you can rest assured. I will settle today's matter for you. Of course, this is also an opportunity for me to make a contribution. I think the big boss's punishment should be enough. I really don't want to fool around with women every day. It's a waste of my life." The bespectacled man nodded vigorously. This guy could return to the big boss's side. For him, it was the best return after the investment. He was equivalent to having a brother by the big boss's side. Anything in the future would be good for him. Zhao Honglong didn't go to the elevator. He rushed directly to the stairs. He wanted to see who was on the third floor and how capable they were. Humph, Zhu Chong and the group of trash. Trash will always be trash. When Xiao had already begun to harass the customers, he walked in the corridor and slammed the door when he saw it. He roared into the room, "Get the F***ck out. I'm going to burn this place. If you don't want to die, get out of here." He didn't know how many people would be completely dispirited after his ruckus. If there were really repercussions, they might not be able to recover in the future. When Xiao finally made it to the room where Su Yun was, Ting Ting, who was serving Su Yun, was so scared that she almost shrank under the bed. This was because Su Yun was going to open the door. Clang, clang, clang. When Xiao slammed the door. "Did you hear that? Get out of here." Su Yun opened the door directly. "If you want to cause trouble, go ahead and cause trouble with them. Everyone is here to have fun. Why bother us like this? Isn't that right?" When Xiao saw Su Yun, he was dumbfounded. "Brother, you are really my biological brother. You have even followed me here to escort me. If I don't do anything, I will really be letting down Su Yun, who has worked so hard to escort me." "Fine. You have guts, you have guts. Play slowly. Don't burn your underwear later." When Xiao held back his laughter and said fiercely. The room door was closed by Wen Xiao. "Wait for your death." The girl went forward and grabbed Su Yun's arm. "Brother, let's go. We'll take the secret passage and leave quickly. If this guy really wants to set the place on fire, we'll be in trouble. He might be a psychopath." Secret passage. Su Yun knew that there was something else going on here. Chapter 1936. The girl pulled Su Yun to the bedside and turned a wall lamp on the wall. Then, a click came from behind the TV cabinet. Su Yun was really impressed. This was really full of traps. No wonder he always felt that this wall lamp was weird. 15 years ago, the decoration style liked to install a wall lamp. But now, what kind of society was it now? Such a rustic style was actually in this high-end sauna center. No wonder, there was really a problem. The girl gently pushed the TV cabinet, and a secret passage directly appeared. Su Yun didn't think much and followed the girl in. He didn't know what the girl pulled inside, and the secret passage closed. Soon, Su Yun heard other sounds in the secret passage. It was estimated that many guests were brought here. No wonder even if the police raided, they couldn't find any evidence. No one would have thought of such a sophisticated layout. The bosses of the Jutsai group were really awesome. This design was really unparalleled. Your place is really safe. Su Yun expressed the same emotion as many guests who saw the secret passage for the first time. "Brother, now you know how safe our place is. If you want to play in the future, you can come here to play. Our place is absolutely safe. You will never be caught by the police." The girl said confidently, "You can rest assured. Go forward and you will reach the safe zone. This passage is directly connected to the outside." Su Yun was stunned. "We can go out directly from here?" "No, of course, we can't go out yet. We are just out of danger for a while." The girl said, "After all, many guest service may not be over yet. If it ends like this, will there be a fee or not?" Su Yun nodded. "That is to say, we can leave after paying?" "Brother, are you not satisfied with my service?" The girl looked back at Su Yun nervously as she walked. In fact, there was no service at all. Su Yun didn't do anything. There was really no satisfaction or dissatisfaction. "No, no, no. I am satisfied. I am very satisfied. It's just that this kind of thing happened. I really don't have the mood. I am not so generous. Once I am not in the mood, I really don't have that thought." "Then are you going to pay and leave?" The girl was very surprised. Wasn't this customer too generous? "Well, I won't continue this time. Su Yun acted very well. I'll think about it in a few days. I'll definitely come. When I come, I'll pick you directly. Number 18, right? Let's just agree on this. Brother, you're such a good person, the girl said. Seeing that Su Yun was such a good person, her heart softened. But it's too much of a loss for you to pay like this. How about we try again later when we go back? I'll brag for you. Believe me, I'm very good. I'll definitely let you find the feeling. Let's forget about it. Really, let's forget about it. Su Yun said with cold sweat on his forehead, emotions are different from physiology. It's not that easy to adjust. Just like that, they walked out of the secret passage as they talked. The secret passage led them directly to a large room. Su Yun saw many girls in professional clothes. Then, there were many customers carrying clothes. These customers were of different heights. Some were bald, some had flat shoulders, and there were all kinds of people. There were people in their 20s to people in their 50s and 60s. Hua Xia really couldn't burn this thing out. It would grow again when the spring breeze blew. In Su Yun's opinion, the investigation was not strict enough. Not ruthless enough. This gave these bosses an opportunity to take advantage of, and also gave people the courage to play. By changing the punishment and directly killing the boss who organized this kind of behavior, it would definitely reduce a large number of people who did this kind of thing. Catch the ladies in this line of work and directly lock them up for 20 years. When they came out, they would be old and yellow. Let's see who would dare to sell them. Catch the customers, hee. Drag them out and they would be shot to pieces. If there was such strength, it would definitely be clean. It was just a little money. People who dared to come out and play like this must have the money. If they were punished, then so be it. They definitely wouldn't care. Su Yun looked at the nearly 50 customers in front of him. He didn't know what they were thinking. Weren't they afraid of getting sick? It was such a dangerous thing. Were they joking with their lives? What if the whole AIZ came out? Then, wouldn't he really have the heart to commit suicide? Zhao Honglong had reached the 3rd floor at this moment. The corridor was a mess. Chicken Mommy, who had been paralyzed with fear, looked at Zhao Honglong with a blank face. She didn't know why this deputy manager, who always didn't care about anything, suddenly appeared at this time. Zhu Chong and his group of brothers were lying on the ground in disorder. They had all lost the ability to fight. Brother, your skills are not bad. Zhao Honglong sneered. As a master, he naturally felt Wen Zhao's strong aura. When Wen Xiao saw Zhao Honglong, he was also stunned. The other party's aura was also very strong. It was not inferior to his at all. Moreover, he was also very young. It seemed that this Jutsai group was really not to be trifled with. How could they arrange such a master in a small sauna center? Phew. I've really bitten a hard bone this time. Of course, Wen Xiao didn't know that Zhao Honglong in front of him had always been the favorite of the big boss of the Jutsai group. This person was very strong and had always been loyal. He was very appreciated by the big boss. However, he had a particularly big shortcoming, which was that he liked women. If he didn't do something with women every day, he would feel uncomfortable all over. It was as uncomfortable as if 10,000 ants were biting his body. Once, the big boss temporarily went to deal with an extremely urgent matter and asked him to wait for a very important partner in the office. This important partner was also a person like Wen Xiao. Therefore, the big boss specially arranged for a woman to let Zhao Honglong receive the partner and explain the situation. After that, the partner and the woman were sent to find a place to have fun. No one would have thought that Zhao Honglong couldn't help himself and had fun with the woman in the office. His partner had arrived half an hour earlier and had seen the scene unfold before his eyes. Of course, the partner couldn't take a woman who had just been used to have fun. He waited in the big boss office for 2 hours. When the big boss found out about this, he was angry at the time and told Zhao Honglong, "Since you like women so much, then go to Heavenly Palace number 1. There are many women there. You never have to come out there. Just die in Heavenly Palace number 1. With this order, Zhao Honglong spent more than half a year in Heavenly Palace No. 1. If he was an ordinary person, he might be too happy. After all, it was safe and comfortable to do things here. There were all kinds of women every day. After Zhao Honglong came to Heavenly Palace No. 1, he had never played with the same woman. However, Zhao Honglong was not an ordinary person. Therefore, staying in this place for a long time was definitely a kind of punishment and torture. This kind of punishment and torture was definitely the most difficult for Zhao Honglong to endure. He really would rather go through fire and water every day than be drunk in this kind of place. Oh, these wastes are all dead. Finally, there is a decent person here. Wan Shao sneered, "All right, since this brother wants to play, then let's have some fun. However, I'm afraid we can't play in this place, right?" Zhao Honglong sneered confidently, "It's really a bit difficult. However, I'm afraid you don't have a chance to go out now, right? If you want to go out and play, let me lie here first." Wan Shao nodded, "Aha, that's a good idea. Then, I'll do as you say." As soon as Wan Zhao's voice fell, the two people attacked at the same time. The two people's strong explosive power erupted in an instant. It could be seen that both of them knew the principle of striking first to gain the upper hand, so no one was willing to be left behind. It was not difficult to see that both of them had scruples about each other. It was because of this concern that they would use 100% of their combat power from the beginning and not hold back at all. Being able to finish off the opponent in the shortest time was the common idea of these two people at this moment. They were very clear that the faster they finished off the opponent, the safer they would be. On the other hand, the possibility of them falling would be higher. Wan Zhao's 3 attacks were all fatal. Zhao Honglong had obviously not been active for half a year. Suddenly, he encountered such a strong master, which really caught him off guard. In half a year, he was drunk on women. Although his body was a little weak, he still maintained his explosive power. As for the reason, everyone knew. Facing the opponent who was full of murderous intent, Zhao Honglong also used his killer move to counterattack. The two of them had their own strengths in this round of fighting, and neither of them had the upper hand. However, Chicken Mommy was dumbfounded. She really did not expect Zhao Honglong to be so powerful. She really didn't expect these two people to be able to perform special effects in front of her. Are these two guys even human? Is this all a dream? Chicken Mommy pinched her thigh hard. It hurts. It hurts. Chapter 1937. Bro, you were sent by the higher-ups to investigate us, right? Zhao Honglong slowly began to be vigilant. He didn't dare to be arrogant. His initial confidence began to become restrained. He was very clear that any little carelessness could turn into a tragedy. In the Heavenly Palace No. 1 sauna center, there was absolutely no second person who could stop the guy in front of him except for him. Wan Shao was also cautious. Although he realized that Zhao Honglong's strength was extraordinary from the beginning, he still regarded Zhao Honglong as the bathing center's internal security. After a few moves, he really didn't believe that the opponent in front of him was just a bathing center's internal security. The opponent's identity in the Jutsai group was definitely not ordinary. This obviously achieved one of Wan Zhao's goals, but at the same time, it also restricted Wan Shao. If the opponent really had an extraordinary identity in the Jutsai group, he absolutely couldn't really cause fatal damage to the opponent. That was basically equivalent to cutting off his own opportunity to be undercover in the Jutsai group. The opponent's every move was definitely a kill. He didn't mean to leave him a way out. Wan Zhao's situation was really not very optimistic. Wan Shao felt that he needed someone to give him some help and support to help him think of a solution. If there was no countermeasure, he would be at a disadvantage if he fought with the opponent because he couldn't really hurt the opponent. He also had to not let the opponent hurt him. He had to show that he was not pretending and was really fighting with all his strength. He wasn't a graduate from Beijing Film Academy or Shanghai Drama Academy. He really didn't know how to act. Kwang. Wan Shao suddenly kicked open the room where Su Yun was. He was going to use Su Yun as a hostage and take the opportunity to seek some advice. What surprised Wen Xiao was that he clearly saw Su Yun in the room just now, but now the room was empty. Did he disappear into thin air? Damn! There was a secret passage in this place. It was high, really high. If the bosses in Dongguan had thought of this way earlier, they wouldn't have all been ordered to close down during the crackdown. No wonder there was no criminal evidence of the Jutsai group in any matter. They could be so thorough in such a small bathing center. You want to use the guests to threaten me? Zhao Honglong was indeed a little surprised by Wen Zhao's behavior because he didn't feel that he had much of an advantage in the confrontation between the two, so he felt that Wen Zhao didn't need to do this. Fortunately, the guests in the room had already been taken away. In fact, even if there were guests in the room, so what if they were used as hostages? Zhao Honglong wasn't a kind-hearted person. Even if there were hostages, he wouldn't really care if Wen Zhao hurt them, right? Wen Zhao sneered, I just feel that the space outside is still too big, we can fight to our heart's content here. Okay, I've said it before. No matter how you want to play, I'll accompany you. Zhao Honglong had to delay the other party. Presumably, the big boss knew that someone needed his help and would definitely realize the seriousness of the matter. It wouldn't be long before he rushed over. Although the two of them did not show any signs of weakness verbally, it was obvious that they were deliberately stalling for time. After all, the two of them had the same idea. In any case, this wouldn't do Wen Xiao any harm. Wen Xiao would just waste his time. After a few minutes, Zhao Honglong began to have some doubts. The other party had not made a move for so long. Could it be that the other party no longer had the ability to make a move? Or was the other party injured and no longer a match for him? Thinking of this, Zhao Honglong, who was eager to make a contribution, suddenly launched an attack. He struck out at lightning speed, directly aiming for Wen Zhao's heart. Wen Xiao retreated to avoid the other party's attack and immediately kicked Zhao Honglong's face. Zhao Honglong's reaction was also very fast. He tilted his head and quickly attacked Wen Zhao's left rib with an eagle claw. Wen Xiao used offense as defense. He turned around and lashed out with a whip kick. Zhao Honglong's reaction was too late and could only block with both arms. This kick caused Zhao Honglong's arms to go numb. His fingers couldn't help but tremble slightly. What a powerful kick! Zhao Honglong knew very well that in a one-on-one fight, he was probably not the opponent of this guy in front of him. It was because this guy had always been wary that they were in a stalemate. As a person, it's better to take a step back so that we can meet again in the future. Wen Xiao said, today, we can be considered friends from an exchange of blows. Instead of fighting to the death, why don't you and I each take a step back? Isn't it a little too late to say this now? At this point, Zhao Honglong had to endure even if he had to grit his teeth. Continue fighting. The general manager of the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center, the bespectacled man, finally waited for the arrival of the boss. A rather low-key Audi A8 appeared. He realized that this kind of thing probably wouldn't alarm the big boss. This was the car of the second boss of the Jutsai group. Among the several bosses of the Jutsai group, the second boss should be the most shrewd and tactful. The establishment of Heavenly Palace No. 1 was basically the second boss idea. At that time, many people didn't understand. For the Jutsai group, how much money could a large-scale sauna center make? They really didn't care about these small profits. The reason why the Heavenly Palace No. 1 Sauna Center was to use it to divert the police's attention. Everyone knew very well that the people who set up this kind of place would not be sentenced to death if they were caught. However, they would definitely be beheaded for those illegal things they did under the guise of international trade. They spent a lot of energy on this sauna center so that the police couldn't catch them and couldn't get evidence that could be used against them. Then this diversion would always exist, greatly reducing the possibility of them being discovered for engaging in other illegal activities. Second boss, you're finally here. Ah Long is confronting that person upstairs. The bespectacled man hurriedly rushed to the door of the car to help the second boss open the door. A man about 35 years old got out of the car. He was wearing a simple short-sleeved tang suit, loose Chinese casual pants, and a pair of white cloth shoes. After he heard the report, he smiled and continued to play with a pair of walnuts in his hands. Seeing that the second boss didn't respond, the bespectacled man continued, "That guy is really not an ordinary person. Zhu Chong and more than a dozen people are not his opponents. Ha ha ha, if Zhu Chong and the others can handle it, Ah Long really doesn't need to do anything." The second boss smiled and said, "Let's go. Take me to see the guests who know about the secret passage first." The secret passage of the sauna center had not been used many times. Even if the police raided, they could always get the news in advance. Therefore, there were very few guests who really knew about their secret passage. It was used once when Heavenly Palace No. 1 was first opened. This should be the second time. The bespectacled man was stunned. Second boss. Ah Long is still on the second floor with that person. That's just right. He can be of use. Otherwise, wouldn't it be too easy for him to spend half a year here? The second boss said with a smile, not angry at all. He will do what he should do, and I will do what I should do. Yes. The bespectacled man didn't dare to have any objection. He quickly took the second boss to a fully enclosed room that all the guests had entered through the secret passage. At this time, the room was already full of smoke. The guests and ladies were all holding cigarettes in their hands. They were all smoking to relieve their uneasiness. Hearing that there was finally a sound, everyone cast their eyes over. Led by the bespectacled man, the second boss walked into the smoky room. As soon as he came in, he frowned. The reason was very simple. He didn't smoke, so he didn't like the smell of second-hand smoke. Usually, only the big boss dared to smoke in front of the second boss. Others would have been scolded long ago. But today was different. Today, these people were all guests. They were all their parents. So what if they smoked? Of course, he wouldn't point at the guests' noses and tell them, "Don't let me smell the smoke in your mouth in the future. Otherwise, I'll cut off your tongue." Of course, he couldn't say such things. He could only silently endure the pain brought to him by the second-hand smoke. It was like a father smoking in front of his son. No matter how much the son didn't like the smell, he could only endure it. He really didn't have any tricks up his sleeve. What the hell is going on? Are we still going to have fun today? How do we calculate the time we wasted? Whose fault is it? That's right. Just when I was having fun, my mood was suddenly dampened. Can I still come here to play in the future? Is it going to be free of charge today? Free of charge. It must be free of charge today. Otherwise, we won't come here in the future. What the hell is this? Many guests saw that there was someone in charge here. They all began to complain about their dissatisfaction. Moreover, they were all quite dissatisfied. Their purpose was very simple. They wanted to ask for a free of charge. Su Yun was speechless at these people. All they wanted was to get some free sex, and that was that. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.